Ready? Play.
Oh, Owen, this is a bit random because I'm sure you've been talking about different things in the last 5 minutes while I was gone. But there was a tweet from you that I wanted to speak to you about. I think I tried to respond to it, but I don't know if I don't think I ever clicked send. And it was basically on Sabalenka. Did you say something in the last 24 hours about, it's hers to lose, or she should win the tournament, or she's the favorite to get to the something about Sabalenka, and it was positive, but then you caveated it with a unless she runs into these semi-final or final issues, right?
Yeah, so I think the tweet was Sabalenka in tennis terms is the best player in the world because what holds her back is she chokes a lot in semifinals
Right.
and finals. Like when she's on, she's just unstoppable. And funnily enough, I actually have Coco winning this tournament. I don't think Sabalenka is the favorite, but yeah, I mean, Sabalenka's avoided any trouble in the early rounds whatsoever. Anisimova used to give her issues, beat her really comfortably. I don't think they're really like if someone were to say like who is Sabalenka kryptonite, I don't really think there's an answer to that besides like her own mind and sometimes her serve. And I think all the other top players kind of have issues that she does not have. So from that standpoint, like I do think her game is the best in the world right now.
I'm okay with you on all of that, but each single point that you made there, I'm a little bit like, is there a kryptonite for her? I mean, Iga has to be the one on an average day who's the one. I know, what's the head-to-head? I don't know. I'm going to guess like 5-2, something like that. 5-3 maybe. So it's close. It's not Ostapenko, Iga-esque, if you like. I get that. Maybe Rybakina is on a bit of a run. Again, you look at the big picture and it's like, I don't know, 4-all there head-to-head or something. But then Rybakina, I think, is on a run of 3 straight wins. And if that continues, that it's almost more important than the previous 3 matches that Sabalenka may have won. So not kryptonite. I agree. There's no kryptonite out there for her exactly. But each of those other points, where shall I begin? She's the best player in the world right now. I don't know. I saw she's not won a tournament since May. So best player in the world to not win a tournament since May. Don't know if I can quite go that far. Then there's also the WTA finals where Iga was just streets ahead of everyone else. Yeah. I mean, if she gets back to world number 1, fine. So do you know what I mean? I'm not like, I'm not against you on all of these. It's just like I find that I'm not quite on board with all of the points.
Absolutely. And
go on.
I have counterpoints, but Jethro, I want to hear your thoughts first because I've been talking way too much.
Sorry, Jethro. Yeah.
No. I was gonna say that. Iga is 6-3 in the head-to-head with Sabalenka. But okay. I do agree with an extent with Owen because I think as much as titles matter, like the eye test is still a massive thing. Like, say after this first 2 rounds of Australian Open, you include the last 3 months. Like you could have argued Sinner is the most informed ATP player right now because Djokovic was horrible against Popyrin, pretty average against Prismic, and Sinner just blasted his way through his opponents, beat Djokovic at the Davis Cup, beat him in the round robin at the ATP finals. Obviously, Djokovic won the final that mattered, but like in terms of who looks like they were playing the best tennis in the world, Sinner, up until probably the last couple of rounds. Now Djokovic has raised his level. And I think the same with Sabalenka. I think she's just looks like the best player in the world, even though she hasn't had a title since May. And I think, like there isn't really a game plan against her when she's playing her best tennis. So that's kind of why I agree with her, to be honest.
One thing with Sabalenka's draw is beginning, it looked like maybe, along with Coco perhaps, the easier one amongst the top 4 players. Whereas actually the problem is for her is that from yesterday onwards, actually, the players that could get there have got there. Okay, maybe Anisimova we may have been a bit surprised about, but then there was Andreeva or Krejcikova in the next round. So now, funny enough, Sabalenka's run actually does start to look tricky because all of the sort of big players or players in form are there. So obviously Coco in the semis. I'm not quite sure who her quarterfinal opponent potentially would be.
Okay, it's Krejcikova, is that right?
Oh,
Yeah.
Krejcikova is the quarterfinal. Okay, so
Yeah.
Anisimova, Krejcikova, Coco, and then whoever in the final. That's a really good, really tough run suddenly.
Yeah.
But the final point, Owen, I think in your sort of your thing was about the semi-final problem. The reason I'm not fully on board with that is I know the Mukova loss last year was quite tough, quite bad, double breakup, blah blah blah. I just think that if it was like Pegula-esque or Rublev-esque with their quarterfinal problem, and there's lots of caveats to that, as Damien was highlighting earlier on today, and and a good tweet with Rublev, like if you keep running into Djokovic, Nadal, or whatever, it's tough, and Medvedev on a hard court. But with Sabalenka, she's won a Grand Slam and she's won a semi-final, or she's won 2 semi-finals. So, sometimes maybe she just came up against Iga in New York. She was a breakup there, I guess. That was a really good match, by the way. I just think if she's losing semi-finals to not great players, or she's unbelievable across the rest of the tour, and then suddenly at a Grand Slam she's not turning up. But as we see, I think it's 5 Grand Slams in a row now in semi-finals, and may well be 6 very soon.
And
I'm not quite on board with it.
And that's totally fair, and I do hear that. But yeah, like that was the point I wanted to make is I totally get if people say, Iga just lost for the first time since September, and Sabalenka hasn't won a title since May. I think that's totally fair. But like you just said, John, you can't take Sabalenka out early in a major anymore. She's she's going deep every single time, and I do think some of these losses late in majors, it is one thing to get outplayed, but I think in a lot of them she's way up. Like that U.S. Open final with Goff, she's up a set, and I don't know about you guys, but when I watched that, by the end I didn't really think, oh wow, Coco totally outplayed her. I sort of thought Coco hung around, and then she broke Sabalenka's brain by defending so well. I think if Sabalenka stays the course, she arguably should have won that match. She was up a set and a break on Jabeur in the Wimbledon semis. She was up on Mukova. And so I feel like these are matches that she can be winning. I don't really view it as when the opposition gets tough, she starts losing. But I see the other side of it as well. And I think if she keeps losing in those, you really can't call her the best player in the world if she's not winning majors.
It's probably about 7 semi-finals that she's been to. Again, I'm probably close to this, but I haven't got it exactly right. And she's won 2. Yeah. By the way, Jethro, do you want to respond, by the way, to something that Owen just said regarding Sabalenka and anxiety, perhaps?
No, I kind of agree. I mean, I will say I did tweet the other night that Iga Świątek is the best player in the world, so I don't want to contradict myself. I more kind of want to say I see the argument for both of them. I think those two in their own right are kind of ahead of the pack. I don't really know what happened to Iga this tournament because she looked so good coming in. But something was off. The knee possibly, but I was really surprised she lost to Noskova. Me too, yeah. Collins I would have understood because Collins was playing outstanding tennis, and I didn't actually watch the Noskova match. I was sleeping, but as much as I do think Noskova is a great prospect, that was a big shock. And Iga's draw after Noskova was still not nice. She had Svitolina to come, maybe Azarenka or Ostapenko. Rebecca was taken out for her, but then a final against Sabalenka maybe. So that was the match at least I was expecting her to lose, apart from Kenin.
Absolutely. I saw her run, at various points in the last week or so, or 10 days since the draw was made. And as soon as the draw was made, it's like, oh, this is tough. And even though Rebecca went out, I was just like, she's going out at some point. I just don't know where. But she won't go out to Noskova. And there you go, tennis. There's a good question from Ghosty, and I think we can address it very, very soon. But before we do, there's also this in my mind, Owen, to sort of put a wrap on Sabalenka, that now she's been there and done it and worn the T-shirt. I do think that does still help her in tough moments. And I asked her about this in Madrid, and I'm going to play the video right now.
Please do.
There were some Australian Open final vibes for me today, and I was looking at a couple of comparisons. Australia was 2 hours 28 minutes. Today was 2:26. I'm sure you weren't aware of that, but I tell you, 4 championship points. Does that sound familiar? And were you thinking of it during that last game?
Actually, yes, I was thinking when I was down with the break in the last game. I was thinking, okay, I did it at the Australia Open, so probably I'll be able to get this win this time again, and it's actually helped me to stay focused and to have this belief in myself. And yeah, definitely this match reminds a lot of Australia Open match.
And you can imagine that, right? I'd be thinking the same. Most humans would be, when you've got that experience to fall on, because that final game against Rebecca a year ago, if she doesn't win that, Owen, then I'm on board. I'm on the train. I'm going choo-choo all the way to Sabalenka has some issues. But whatever happens in the rest of their career, she's obviously got over that hump.
Yeah,
I've heard Djokovic Djokovic has certainly spoken about it, and other players, that once you've been there, that you like Djokovic kind of was saying it in that interview recently, where he said, I get nervous, I get anxious, I get tight, but then I'm like, this is okay, this is going to pass. I've been here before, and that sort of rings true for me with Sabalenka to some extent.
I'm halfway with you, and I totally get it. Like, I when she won that Australian Open, I totally expected, like, okay, all the demons are going to be gone now. She's fixed it. She's done it. It's not going to be an issue anymore. And then the next major, Mukova played very well to take that match back. But I think the feeling at the time was like, oh my God, Sabalenka, like, you let that go. Honestly, and I'm not the first one to come up with this take, but I think my angle is, like, she hasn't fixed the issues. She's just so damn good that sometimes they don't matter. She double faulted on her first 2 championship points. Is that right? In the Australian Open? Maybe it was just
at least one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she was not. The nerves were still there. She just won anyway. And so I think.
Well, today is a huge moment for Chinese tennis. The rising Chinese star, 21-year-old Zheng Qinwen, will take on Aryna Sabalenka, the world number 2, in the Australian Open final. Zheng, it's a huge moment for her personally, her first major final, soon after reaching her first quarterfinal last year at the US Open. But not only that, it's amazingly, it comes 10 years after Li Na won her only Australian Open title back in 2014. Li Na, of course, is a legend of Chinese tennis. She remains the only Chinese player, and indeed the only Asian player among men or women to have won a Grand Slam singles title. So she is a massive legend in Chinese tennis. She's been a huge influence on Zheng herself. Zheng talked about having watched that final 10 years ago and being inspired, and of course she's continued to play tennis. She's actually ended up getting coached by Li Na's former coach in China. So and not only that, I mean, she's just had a huge influence, Li Na, on Chinese tennis. I actually studied in Hong Kong for a little while and met, Chinese students also from the mainland. And I remember someone actually saying that they started playing tennis because of Li Na. So her influence is definitely massive. Yeah, and of course she's a huge inspiration for Zheng herself. So for her to actually reach the final here 10 years after Li Na did is quite remarkable. The question is whether Zheng can actually get the job done today. Can she beat Sabalenka? Sabalenka is last year's Australian Open champion. She's the world number 2, and she's been in this tournament playing really well. It's really going to be difficult. How will Zheng handle it? That is the question. Zheng has actually been pretty good in this tournament, I think. in the match against Kalinskaya, she lost the first set. But even though that happened, and Zheng would have been under pressure to win that, as certainly she was the favourite, she came through pretty well, and I thought she was really well composed and ended up playing great tennis. 6-3, 6-1, she won the last 2 sets. So in terms of mentally, I think that comes from having won a lot of matches. She's been very consistent the last 6 months or so. She won a 250. She got to the quarterfinals of the US Open, and then she won her first 500 title in Zhengzhou. She came back from a set down to beat Barbara Krejcikova. Great moment for her. And then although she didn't win the second tier year-end championship, she actually got to the final and played well, beat Ostapenko and lost a close match to Haddad Maia. She's beaten top 10 players before. She beat on Jabeur on the way to the quarterfinal. She's beaten, she has had victories against big players in the top 10, but she hasn't quite managed to do it against those elite players like Sabalenka, Swiatek, Rybakina. These guys are slam winners, top 4, top 5. I think, she's going to have to raise her level today, Zheng, to actually get the job done, because she's come through. She hasn't even had to face a single seeded opponent, which is quite remarkable. She was 12th seed herself, but she didn't even face a top 50 opponent, whereas Sabalenka has just beaten Coco Gauff in straight sets, who was a US Open champion. So that illustrates that, Sabalenka is in great form. Sabalenka's got a lot of power off both wings. She's going to push. She's definitely going to push Zheng back. Zheng can defend pretty well. She's quick around the court, but she can't. There's only so much she can do if Sabalenka's in that hot form. So it's going to come down to how Zheng can play her game. Zheng has a big serve herself. She can, when she gets that first serve in, she's winning like 80+% of points so far in this tournament. So the problem for her is actually getting that first serve in. Her first serve percentage is usually 50% or lower. She can get it up to 60%. Whether she can do it in that match, in today's match, is going to be key. Get it close to 60% and she's going to give herself a real chance. But make no mistake, it's a big ask. My personal feeling is Sabalenka is going to be too much, but that Zheng will play a good match based on how well she's done recently. And I think it's going to be, there's going to be a lot of fans behind her as well for Zheng. She's talked about how she felt like she was at home, and probably a lot of fans supporting her as the underdog, but I still think Sabalenka is going to have too much for her, and it's going to be a straight sets victory for Sabalenka, but a tight straight sets victory, or possibly one that goes 3 sets, but I do think Sabalenka is going to get it done. But nonetheless, it's going to be really interesting, and it will be a huge moment if Zheng actually gets it done. It's going to be really interesting to see how it goes.
Ready? Play.
Did Sinner win it or did Djokovic lose it, Steve?
I think it was more that Djokovic lost it, frankly. And it's not fair you can't be critical of Sinner in any way, because he played superbly from start to finish. So it's not a knock on him. But those first 2 sets that Djokovic lost 6-1, 6-2 were about as abysmally as I've seen him play ever in a big match, certainly over the last 10 years or 15 years even. And he said it himself. He thought it was maybe the worst Grand Slam match he could remember himself. And yet he did laud Sinner for the level of his game and how well he was striking the ball and the precision of his serve. There were a lot of things that Jannik did beautifully, but that the Djokovic that we were watching over the first 2 sets that he lost 1 and 2, where he got broken 4 times and never came near to breaking Sinner, was just it. Yes, he had struggled throughout the tournament in various matches. He'd lost 3 sets. He dropped a set to Fritz, but it was nothing like this. He just could not find his range off the ground. He couldn't find a way to extend the rallies and get into some kind of rhythmic state. And where he could test Sinner, where he could make that finally happened a bit later in the 3rd set, but that was too late. I don't think he had it in him. Feeling the way he did after all the wear and tear of the tournament, to feel like he was going to have a miraculous comeback from 2-0 in him. So what I'm basically saying is I think he spotted Sinner those first 2 sets. He didn't challenge him those first 2 sets, and Sinner exploited it to the hilt. Then we saw in the third, John, that Novak made his move. He was down break point early. That set, it could have ended up being a 1-2-4 obliteration, but he saved himself and then started serving quite well the rest of the set. And in the process, started to extend some of the rallies. We saw some 14, 18, 20-stroke rallies, more Djokovic-like. And finally, Sinner did start to miss a bit because he was being extended in the rallies, which didn't happen early. I think Novak had no patience earlier. So, and then, of course, the tiebreak, where Novak saved a match point. It was a very good forceful forehand return from Sinner, but Novak fended it off and then managed to coax an error off of the Sinner forehand, and then he pulled the tiebreak out. Did a little fist pump, but again, even that was not the typical animated Novak. He was so subdued the entire time. It was as if somehow in the back of his mind, he thought everything had caught up to him and he just didn't have it in him. The spark was missing.
I'm being distracted by John's question there. Sorry, Nick. Just any thoughts on the coach of Qinwen going to Osaka?
Not surprised. Not because anything to do with Zheng at all. I think she seems a perfectly pleasant person, but obviously Wim Fissette has got this loyalty to Naomi Osaka. The only reason he wasn't coaching her because she wasn't playing. So maybe it's a little bit of a slap in the face for Zheng Qinwen, who maybe was hoping for a more long-term relationship. But I think Naomi Osaka is probably going to want some familiarity when she hits the tour. So it doesn't surprise me from anyone involved. I just hope that Zheng finds a coach who can continue to get the best out of her.
I think, you know, it's almost like I was originally like, oh, maybe there's some money involved, but actually it's probably definitely not that, because if he'll move, he might not even be getting as much money. You don't know. The point is, coaches have got to go with people that they have a bit of a connection with, that they can speak to. So it's not all about just like, oh, you got to do this with your forehand, this with your backhand, especially at that level. You know, everybody knows how to play tennis. So there's a lot more at stake, especially with a player like Naomi Osaka, who probably isn't looking for somebody to tell her, you know, do this and that in the court. It's probably more about everything else this is going on, right? She just needs somebody she can bounce off. And obviously, if she's been dealing with depression off the court, coming back into the scene is probably quite likely she absolutely needs the right people around her. So I'm sure there was, you know, a lot of stuff said between her and Wim Fissette before he made the move, and eventually that seemed like the natural choice. I don't think there's... And I was just surprised that Qinwen was so shot down by it, I guess. But maybe there was a bit of lost in translation there. You know, maybe it all kind of happened so quickly. And from what I've seen, Wim Fissette's a nice guy. So, yeah, obviously at the end of the day, it is a business. But also, if it makes sense to go with Naomi Osaka because you click, then just do that. I don't think there's much more to it, Nick. Definitely.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. Let's not really touch into it. Zheng has clearly taken some of it the wrong way, but
yeah,
we've seen, and you're absolutely right. It's less about, you know, it's about having a great rapport. I mean, look at Tom Hill stayed with Maria Sakkari for so long, and he continues to get the best out of her because of they get on and they trust each other. And same thing seems to be developing with Goff and Gilbert at the minute, given the way she's been talking about him in press.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of that is what you need. It's less about that. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I think that's all the tennis that we can talk for the minute. So thanks for coming on at this late hour, Jack. Really appreciate talking WTA Weekly with you. And yeah, I'm excited to see. I think we're both excited to see what happens with
it's just that she's so
the rest
good
of this week.
Sometimes she'll win regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Jethro?
Yeah, no, I do agree. I mean, if you look at her slam record last season after she won the Australian Open, obviously collapsed completely against Mukhova, collapsed against Jabeur in the Wimbledon semi-final. She was a break-up in that as well, and would have absolutely routine Von Drusefer in the final if she'd got through that match, and then collapsed against Coco Gauff in the US Open final. So yeah, the demons probably are still there, but I think it will depend. Like, she was playing, you know, the kind of next best players in, you know, Jabeur, Mukhova, Gauff. So she was still playing really high quality opponents, but she wasn't playing anyone on her or Iga's level. So I still think it will take a very good player like Gauff or someone else to take her out, even if she does get nervous.
She's going super deep. I mean, I said that she has not won a tournament since May, and maybe one tournament in the last 12 months. Like, so since the Australian Open to now, I think it's just Madrid, but I could be wrong on that. I know she won Adelaide immediately prior to the Australian Open a year ago, and then obviously won the Aussie Open. So, and of course, she took the world #1 spot, albeit that was in the wake of making the final in New York. But, you know, Indian Wells final as well, and all this. Collapse, yeah, maybe the Mukhova one, yeah. I think the other ones, setting a break, yeah, it's a mini collapse.
Well, today is a huge moment for Chinese tennis. The rising Chinese star, 21-year-old Zheng Qinwen, will take on Aryna Sabalenka, the world #2, in the Australian Open final. Zheng, it's a huge moment for her personally, her first major final, soon after reaching her first quarterfinal last year at the US Open. But not only that, it's amazingly, it comes 10 years after Li Na won her only Australian Open title back in 2014. Li Na, of course, is a legend of Chinese tennis. She remains the only Chinese player, and indeed the only Asian player among men or women to have won a Grand Slam singles title. So she is a massive legend in Chinese tennis. She's been a huge influence on Zheng herself. Zheng talked about having watched that final 10 years ago and being inspired, and of course she's continued to play tennis. She's actually ended up getting coached by Li Na's former coach in China. So and not only that, I mean, she's just had a huge influence, Li Na, on Chinese tennis. I actually studied in Hong Kong for a little while and met, you know, Chinese students also from the mainland. And I remember someone actually saying that they started playing tennis because of Li Na. So her influence is definitely massive. Yeah, and of course she's a huge inspiration for Zheng herself. So for her to actually reach the final here 10 years after Li Na did is quite remarkable. The question is whether Zheng can actually get the job done today. Can she beat Sabalenka? Sabalenka is last year's Australian Open champion. She's the world number 2, and she's been in this tournament playing really well. It's really going to be difficult. How will Zheng handle it? That is the question. Zheng has actually been pretty good in this tournament, I think. In the match against Kalinskaya, she lost the first set. But even though that happened, and you know, Zheng would have been under pressure to win that, as certainly she was the favourite, she came through pretty well, and I thought she was really well composed and ended up playing great tennis. 6-3, 6-1, she won the last 2 sets. So in terms of mentally, I think that comes from, you know, having won a lot of matches. She's been very consistent the last 6 months or so. She won a 250. She got to the quarterfinals of the US Open, and then she got to she won her first 500 title in Zhengzhou. She came back from a set down to beat Barbara Krejcikova. Great moment for her. And then although she didn't win the second tier year-end championship, she actually got to the final and played well, beat Ostapenko and lost a close match to Haddad Maia. On Jabeur on the way to the quarterfinal. She's beaten, you know, she has had victories against big players in the top 10, but she hasn't quite managed to do it against those elite players like Sabalenka, Swiatek, Rybakina. These guys are slam winners, top 4, top 5. I think, you know, she's going to have to raise her level today, Zheng, to actually get the job done, because she's come through. She hasn't even had to face a single seeded opponent, which is quite remarkable. I mean, she was 12th seed herself, but she didn't even face a top 50 opponent, whereas Sabalenka has just beaten Coco Gauff in straight sets, who was a US Open champion. You know, so that illustrates that, you know, Sabalenka is in great form. Sabalenka's got a lot of power off both wings. She's going to push, she's definitely going to push Zheng back. Zheng can defend pretty well. She's quick around the court, but she can't. I mean, there's only so much she can do if Sabalenka's in that hot form. So it's going to come down to how Zheng can play her game. Zheng has a big serve herself. She can, when she gets that first serve in, she's winning like 80+% of points so far in this tournament. So the problem for her is actually getting that first serve in. Her first serve percentage is usually 50% or lower. She can get it up to 60%. Whether she can do it in that match, in today's match, is going to be key. Get it close to 60% and she's going to give herself a real chance. But make no mistake, it's a big ask. My personal feeling is Sabalenka is going to be too much, but that Zheng will play a good match based on how well she's done recently. And I think it's going to be, yeah, there's going to be a lot of fans behind her as well for Zheng. She's talked about how she felt like she was at home, and probably a lot of fans supporting her as the underdog, but I still think Sabalenka is going to have too much for her, and it's going to be a straight sets victory for Sabalenka, but a tight straight sets victory, or possibly one that goes 3 sets, but I do think Sabalenka is going to get it done. But nonetheless, it's going to be really interesting, and it will be a huge moment if Zheng actually gets it done. It's going to be really interesting to see how it goes.
With the mental side of tennis, from my perspective as a fan, if you like, the two things that strike me in tennis compared to lots of other sports that I think make it a big mental challenge is, first of all, it's an individual sport. But secondly, so there's nowhere to hide. Like in football, in a team sport, you can just give the ball to another, teammate, and you cannot call for it if you like. But there's nowhere to hide. The other thing as well in tennis is again in something like football, you can be really nervous, but you can get a bit lucky. And of course, that can be the case in tennis. But basically, your body could be shaking when you're about to take a penalty. Okay, and you can still score because you can just put your foot through it, right? You just hit it as hard as you can. And actually, probably you will still score because of the odds on that.
Yeah.
But there's that in a sport such as darts, snooker, tennis, where you need to be pretty calm and you need to have a pretty steady hand. There's just nowhere to hide. Is there anything I'm missing, or am I underplaying something, or even overplaying?
No. I think you're 100% correct. I think the real tough thing about these sports and tennis in particular, because of how physical it is as well, is the relentlessness of point after point. And if you're nervous, you have to fight through those nerves sometimes for, an hour. and they might disappear for a while, but then suddenly, you're 5-all and it's tight again and you're feeling very tight, and you have to manage it over and over again. And I think, the best players in the world just, use their tools and remember to use their tools in big moments. Because, once you get to pro level, it's not like any player doesn't kind of know what they have to do, but it's in the heat of that moment that they either don't remember because the brain is frying a little bit, or they don't have the courage to use them. Yeah. So, for us sitting there, I remember when Roger Federer had 2 match points against Novak at Wimbledon serving.
Yeah.
You're thinking serve and volley both.
Okay.
Yeah, probably Novak's not going to make a great return on both.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know whether what Roger was thinking, or maybe knew something more than that I did, but that was my thinking. But he didn't, and they slipped through his hands. Now, to do that though in that moment takes a huge amount of courage.
Yeah, and
first to make the decision, and then secondly to follow through the decision like that. But then you've always got, and this is what's so tough for players. The other thing is, match point, make the person play. Don't serve and give them a quick volley or whatever. And that's another school of thought. But I think deep down, players get to a place where they have an instinct. And I think, I say this over and over again, the best players in the world are the most relaxed and the bravest. Because in those moments, when their instinct is telling them something, they are brave enough to follow it. And which is why, and again, it doesn't guarantee you're going to win, but I do think it starts to push the odds more in your favor. I'll just say one other thing is,
yeah,
I don't know if anybody's ever been go-karting or any kind of motor racing or watches motor racing,
mm-hmm.
but when a driver gets in the groove, they lap like within 0.1 of a second, every lap, like in this unbelievable groove.
Mm-hmm.
But if they lose that groove, when they're in that groove, it seems so easy. Just do it, right? No hassle. But if they lose that groove, if they go a little too fast, then they slide out of a corner, they lose time. If they go a little too slow, then that's not effective. And the margins are so small to stay on that groove. And for players as well, when you go into something like the French Open or any tournament, but especially the big ones, you hope that you can get through that first match and find a groove. And if you get in that groove, then that gives you your best chances of winning, because then most stuff is happening automatically, which is the most effective. Everybody has a problem when they start to think on the court, and automatic is fastest and easiest, because you know how to do things. And it's not like you don't register. I say when you're playing very well, you are aware of everything, but nothing distracts you. When you start to think, your thoughts start to distract you, and that's very difficult to manage. And if you can learn how to manage that and get yourself back in the groove a little faster than other players, that's obviously helps with ranking and why certain players are more consistent than others, because they tend to manage that better. I hope that makes sense anyway.
It does. Yeah, it definitely does. The mental side of
Number 10, Ons Jabeur. Number 9, Caroline Garcia. Number 8, Maria Sakkari. Number 7, Marketa Vondrousova. Number 6, Elina Svitolina. Number 5, Jessica Pegula. Number 4, Coco Gauff. Number 3, Aryna Sabalenka. Number 2, Elena Rybakina. And number 1, Iga Świątek.
Ready? Play.
Well, hello there, and welcome to the Australian Open Women's Singles Final. Hopefully you've enjoyed all of the preamble that's been building up to this. Certainly the players are getting hyped up for it because they're currently walking down the corridor, down the stairs, and out into Rod Laver Arena, ready to play one of the 4 biggest matches of the year. Zheng Qinwen out first as she walks past the Daphne Akhurst Trophy, and Aryna Sabalenka not far behind. Hello, John. Hello, Bianca. How are we doing?
Good morning. Good morning, Bianca.
Sorry, one for me. Can you guys hear me well?
You sound like a Dalek.
Yeah. Do you maybe just unplug and then plug it back in? Maybe try that. Good morning, Jake. Good morning, Kirit as well. Plenty of familiar faces in the live chat. Shrihari Ozel was here earlier. Jake is very pumped listening to ABBA. And Jake, of course, did personally request to have Nick on the show. But Nick was already primed probably as long as a week ago, I think, for this particular occasion. Regarding the time zone, of course, this is when it's from this moment for the next 24 hours when the time zone in the UK isn't too bad. Right, Nick?
Yeah, it's one of the few times it's like, hey, I can actually watch all of the tennis. I mean, the women's semi-final as well, but it's a weekend.
Oh yeah, the semi-finals of women's. Yes, true. Yeah.
If you weren't working, but it was a weekend. I have very fond memories of watching the Australian Open final. As a 14, 15, 16. Sort of in my high school, college days. Sixth form college as a probably I would wake up and watch the Aussie Open final on a weekend, probably during revision for exams and whatnot. I think the first final I would have watched would have been 2008 Sharapova beating Ivanovic, and followed of course the next day by Djokovic winning his first against Jo-Wilfried Tsonga.
Nick, who won 10 years ago today?
10 years ago today? Well, that was Victoria Azarenka. Oh, no, it would have been Djokovic.
No, women's final.
A women's final. 2024, Li Na. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why. My brain thought it was 2023.
Don't worry, Nick.
I did the whole New Year brain.
Bianca, you're on mute, by the way. I don't know if you know that. There you go. You're off mute now.
Okay, well, I did shout Lina, so.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yes.
I think I saw the lip reading, but either way, it was quite funny seeing Nick roll around searching for Li Na and eventually getting there.
That statistic the whole tournament, 10 years on, first Chinese player. So
yeah. And I'm only knowing it because I've seen it bouncing around social media. I mean, I knew about Li Na, but I didn't know it was exactly 10 years ago today. By the way, there's also a quirky number regarding Djokovic's defeats.
Yeah.
I think the Wimbledon one came against Alcaraz 2,195 days after his previous one. And then yesterday was also 2,195 days after his last defeat in Australia in 2018. The numbers are quirky, but actually, because these Grand Slams are on always at the same time of year, you're going to be if for example, if you lose 6 years later, so if you lose at Wimbledon now in 2024, and then you lose in 2030, and you also lose in Australia in 2024, and then 2023, it's going to be very, very similar because the timing of the year. But anyway, that's a thing. And Nick is pulling his face, so I'm going to move on to a different topic. Let's get back to the present anyway, not the future or the past. Looking at Sabalenka's road to the final, Bianca, pretty comfortable, right?
Yeah, pretty convincing. I know in many past Grand Slams, she'll have convincing runs and then we'll see a stumble at the semifinal, but she's been solid still. There's not been really any sort of shocking, scary 6 love sets comebacks. It's been smooth sailing. So hopefully she can carry that all the way through here and, play her best. If she were to lose, I would want her to lose, be outplayed. I don't want her to have her nerves take over.
This poll actually is a bit closer than I imagined. Maybe there's just people who want Zheng to win, but I think the win predictor was 80-20. I have got another poll on YouTube, which is actually a lot closer to that 80-20. And I think even some Qinwen fans are even saying, look, it's been great. She's got to the final, but Sabalenka's the favorite. What are your thoughts, Nick?
Yeah, Sabalenka's the favourite. I don't expect her to have nerves. She's been here, done that before. Maybe she'll have nerves in the sense that she's expected to win, but she doesn't do that for any other match, especially recently. She only has nerves against someone who she knows can push her. I think Zheng, this was a great opportunity for her, and she took it. Unlike other players in her half of the draw, and she's going to be very happy to be here. But I think that Sabalenka, in terms of quality player, is going to be too much of a step up. That being said, Jastrzębska gave her a little bit of a warm up with sort of the power that she can hit with. Let's see how it goes. I'm not expecting a complete beatdown by any means, but yeah, I think Sabalenka will probably be too strong in the end.
Yeah. Do you feel the same, Bianca?
I do. I do feel the same, especially because they had such a recent matchup in the US Open. We kind of see how that one went, and it was pretty convincingly on Sabalenka's side. So I think we're going to get that again.
So we know what's going to happen now is that Zheng Qinwen's going to convincingly win.
Yeah, so they had a match at the US Open last year. Were we common? No, we weren't. Nick, we did Jabeur, Qinwen, Zheng, right? I think, and I think maybe Shrihari and maybe one other did Sabalenka against Qinwen Zheng because Zheng had a great win over Jabeur, and then it was like, okay, could be something here. Let's see how she gets on against Sabalenka, and then Sabalenka won comfortably. And a lot of people are predicting something similar today. Zheng, of course, first Grand Slam final. Sabalenka, it's her second, right? I think
third.
Oh, of course. My goodness me. Two in the last 12 months, of course. Yeah. So it's her third. She's won one. She's lost one. I think she's quietly banishing some of these sort of semi-final stories as well. Now she's won 3, I think, out of 8, which is more than respectable. And her performance in the semi-final, yes, she had a wobble at 5-2, Nick, but she came through it with flying colours.
She did. I mean, I was gonna say, like, when we were talking about the golf semi-final, I think Sabalenka almost gave herself problems. 5-2 in that first set. And I think obviously that match got a little messy, I think, with Goff. But I was very impressed with the way Sabalenka sort of stabilized after winning that first set, and it was a very even second for quite a lot of it. I've got play getting underway on my screen. First round of the match, as Sabalenka hits a backhand winner, as you would expect, on the first point. It's 15-love.
I am pretty much at the same point as you are. Whereabouts are you in this, Bianca? Are you pretty much the same as Nick, or are you ahead?
She's on mute.
Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute, Bianca. Hang on, maybe I can take. Oh, she's off.
How do I keep going on mute? Yes, I'm the same spot as you guys.
Oh, brilliant! I wasn't expecting this.
Well, let's see, Nick. There's always...
the game is still going on.
Yeah. 30 love Sabalenka right now. In fact, I should share the score on the screen.
Oh, I am actually one point ahead. Nothing crazy ahead.
Yeah, Sabalenka just aced for 40 love.
As well.
Yeah. So far, so good for Aryna. No sign of nerves this early on.
Yeah, she settled quite well, which is unnerving if you're Qinwen Zheng.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just felt when Sabalenka won that Australian Open a year ago, I remember speaking to Caitlin Thompson on the Monday after the final, and it was like, she's going to be fine now. Any of the yips that she'd had on serve. I know she had a few wobbles last year as well. It's the second time I've used the word wobble in this show, so keep that counting going. I know that, but she was so solid as well, winning in Madrid. And she said that when she won that title in Madrid, she leaned on her Australian Open final experience. And she's just been awesome for 12 months now. Awesomely consistent. Not won a title, though, Nick, since Madrid.
No, not since Madrid, no. And we say sort of awesomely consistent. Only really in slams. Her 1,000...
Indian Wells final, Stuttgart final.
After Madrid, though...
Adelaide final.
She didn't make a 1,000 final after Madrid, and actually only made 1,000 semi-final. Obviously only semi-finals in the WTA finals, which is a little bit different. But yeah, at the slams, brought it. One of the leading contenders, only really beaten by players having a very, very good day. So you would expect her to basically be in the running for every single slam going on for. But the rest of the time, especially after Madrid and Roland Garros, I should say, specifically, not quite Not quite there, which is why she's currently the world number 2 and not the world number 1.
I wonder when you're going to squeeze that in.
So far, Zheng yet to win a point. Oh no, she's just won her first point on in the match. She lost the first 5. She's just hit an unreturnable serve, so she's now on the board. We've got a battle of green v red outfits, not necessarily flags. It's actually the opposite way around to the flags. Zheng wearing green, Sabalenka wearing red. Huge serve from Zheng, but Sabalenka actually gets it back in play. Forehand Sabalenka cross court. The forehand of Zheng is out, and it's 15-30, and we've already got danger of an early break in this final.
Zheng is definitely going to have to keep her serve percentage high. I think it's been for the entire tournament something like 50%. Definitely going to need to keep that as high as possible today. Yeah,
she can't get away. She can't get away with having sort of mid-level first serve stats against someone like Sabalenka, who, let's face it, and that's a first serve in that Sabalenka's actually got back in play. So even then, it might not help. Backhand to the net from Zheng again, maybe flustered by that great return from Sabalenka, and it's 15-40, and we're already facing 2 break points in this match. Yeah, talk about first serve percentage. I don't think it's dropped too much in this game, but Sabalenka's getting these returns in. Here we go. Break point on my screen. First serve wide from Zheng. So now that's coming into play. Now we're probably looking at the 50% mark, 50-60% mark for first serves in. 5th point of this second game, 15-40. Second serve up the tee. Backhand for Sabalenka is in. Zheng couldn't control it because the backhand up the line was way too far for her to reach. And it's break for Sabalenka straight away. 2-love.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's dialed in.
She really is.
Yeah. I just think I don't really mind who wins, honestly. I'd like to see 3 sets. I mean, don't forget we had a French Open final last year, which for a set and a half looked pretty one-sided, right, Nick? I remember you and I were discussing that, and who would have thought that we would get the drama once you're down a set and a break to Iga on Philippe Chatrier. It's a pretty tall order, but we'll see. I think Zheng obviously still needs to settle a bit.
Yeah, I mean, you say Zheng needs to settle a bit. I'm looking at it, and I feel like Sabalenka has won all the points. I haven't seen any kind of really bad unforced errors. They've basically been winners or forced errors from that's won Sabalenka these points, and which is why she's won. She's leading 8 points to 1 in that category at the minute. Good stuff.
That she pulls the first error at the net here. Should have definitely put away that volley.
Oh yeah, just seen it. Yeah, Zheng, she doesn't put away the volley, and Zheng kind of passes her with a lob that lands behind her near the sideline. Yeah, you would think Sabalenka would be a bit better than that, given that she's won some doubles Grand Slams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the volley with her is something, though, or the net play with her is a question mark. Let's say. It's something that even Coco in that match, for example, there was a couple of times at the net. She's just hit and miss. I think there is room for improvement there, that's for sure. But I saw with Medvedev yesterday, I was like, wow, this guy's a net king. Or at least he was in the third, fourth, and fifth sets, which is something that I think he has added to his game. As we see another error off the racket of Aryna Sabalenka.
Yeah, love 30. I was going to say that. So after we were talking about, oh yeah, she's playing pretty well. She's controlling all of it. It's love 30.
right away.
Yeah. This is commentator's curse right here. Sabalenka serves first serve into the net. So already things are kind of dropping off. But so far, point still holds. This is on Sabalenka's racket right now. Second serve is attacked by Zheng Qinwen. Backhand from Sabalenka is long. Didn't look like it was going long, but it just decided the flatness of it just carried it over the baseline. Suddenly, it's break back points for Zheng, who, according to the stat, has a 27% record of breaking right back, which is below average for the top 100. But, she's got 3 points to do it. That's still a decent percentage if you want to do that. She just needs one of them. Might get to 30-40. Sabalenka. First serve in. Backhand from Zheng in play. Forehand Sabalenka cross court. Zheng gets the forehand up the line. Backhand to the middle of the court from Sabalenka. Zheng changes direction with the forehand. Forehand cross court Sabalenka. Forehand Zheng is long, shutting up the line. It was looped over the baseline. 15-40. Couldn't deal with that power on the cross court forehand from Sabalenka. First break point saved.
I'm going to go backstage for a bit, but I'll always be around.
We'll always have you, John. He's always with us. It's a great comfort, to be honest. I don't know what I'd do without him. Second break point for Zheng to attack Sabalenka. First serve on the cross court forehand. Sabalenka's forehand is looped just in. Forehand again from Sabalenka. Zheng's having to run for that forehand. It goes into the net, and it's 30-40. That's a second break point saved. I did say it might get to 30-40.
That second ball looked like it must have hit the outside of the line. That one. I thought that was good.
Yeah, I did think, oh, that's going long. I don't know how she caught the line with that.
This would be a great hold if she's able to save it.
Which would make sense if this final's on her racket. But let's see how well she does with this point. Here we go. First serve. Sabalenka goes out wide, misses it just. Sabalenka sort of resetting. Sort of moves her shoulders back, remembering all the biomechanics training she's had. Something big's about to happen. Second serve for Sabalenka. Huge backhand from Qinwen, but forehand cross court from Sabalenka to the backhand of Sabalenka. Back up the line. Huge winner. That's what it was. Past Qinwen. Too good.
Amazing pass. Absorbed all the power from that return just now, which was really good and deep in the court, and just redirected it.
Yeah. I mean, that's for someone who just hits everything as hard as she does. Sabalenka's ability to absorb and redirect is actually really, really impressive, because you would think with the amount how hard she hits, she'd overhit it.
Yeah.
Here we go. First serve up the tee is wide. So second serve at this juice point for Aryna Sabalenka. So she's going to have to reset here. Second serve. Got Golden Fishley in the chat. Hello. Backhand in play from Zheng. Backhand cross-court Sabalenka. Backhand back towards Sabalenka. Inside out forehand, putting the Zheng backhand under pressure. Forehand up the line for Sabalenka. Zheng again trying to pressure, but Sabalenka's at the net. Zheng puts it in the net. And it's advantage to Sabalenka to get out of trouble in this game. So, yeah, that was an interesting rally there, because I'm not sure. Like, Sabalenka felt she was up at the point, but Zheng was kind of defending pretty well. And I don't know what happened there. Maybe she was a bit intimidated by Sabalenka coming into the net. Here we go. Out wide serve from Sabalenka, out. So second serve again. First serve stats definitely dropping. Suddenly it's Sabalenka with the 55%, according to the Google stats on the screen. So second serve for Aryna Sabalenka. Zheng goes on the attack with backhand cross court. Sabalenka scrambles that one back, and the Zheng follow-up forehands into the net. That was definitely a first real unforced error from Zheng, who's up in that rally. 3-love Sabalenka.
What an escape. Just a little wobble there from her in the beginning of that game, but great steadying of the ship. Find sometimes usually when things start to go awry for Sabalenka, it can all fall apart in 2-3 games in a row, but she settled just now within the one game, which is it's good to see.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. She's pulled herself out the bag. And yeah, how are you feeling about Zheng at the minute? I think that forehand at that last point was the first big mistake that she's made. Really. The one that I could call a really true unforced error. Everything else, I would say you could just about put in the category of forced in terms of when she's missed. But most of the time it's been Sabalenka hitting the ball past her. Sean, what's the record at the minute for least games dropped in winning a slam? Because I didn't know that. I'd have to do the maths, but I don't know what the current record is, to be honest. I know I've looked and I put out.
If Iga hold it, I feel like she would be the person to hold it.
That would have to be from Roland Garros 2020, because that's the only slam that Iga's won without dropping a set. And she didn't drop many games in that, to be fair. But yes, you're right. It does sound like an Iga record. But yeah, what are your thoughts on how Zheng's playing so far, Bianca?
It's not like there's egregious errors happening here. I feel like it's just obviously first Grand Slam final nerves. She's gonna just need to steady herself right here. Serve hasn't been really bad, in my opinion. I've seen some matches where she's double faulting 2-3 times in a row. Already just got an ace just there to go up 30 love. So I think she just needs to settle down, and in the next few games we'll be able to see how she's gonna go toe-to-toe with Sabalenka.
Yeah, she hit the she won the first point with a +1 forehand winner as well. So yeah, she's starting to take it to Sabalenka and hit her own winners, and maybe give herself a footing in this match to say, no, I can compete. I'm here. She's serving now out wide. That's another ace. 40 love. This is a very good game so far from Qinwen. She's now just got to finish it off. John confirming for us in the chat that it's 28 games lost is the record for both Martina Hingis and Serena Williams in the 97 and 2002 US Opens. So at the minute, it's looking tracked to at least make an Australian Open record. Unreturnable serve from Zheng, game 3-1. 20 games dropped by Steffi Graf on the way to the French Open title in 1988. Yeah, so how many Sabalenka dropped so far? Let's get her draw up. We're into a new game, by the way, but I want to see this draw. See if I can.
Good first serve. Are there unreturned from Zheng? The Chinese fans are deep in this crowd right now, so I wonder as we get deeper into this match how that may affect Sabalenka. She loves to bring up the lack of support she had at the US Open. I just hope that's something that's not in her mind as this match continues on.
Do you mean that she likes to mention the atmosphere?
Yes, like she's always asking, like she's like, oh, if I had this support at the US Open, maybe I would have won.
Wow.
So we'll see how the crowd, who they start to cheer for as the match goes on, because that's just something I've picked up.
I'm kind of hoping now she enters Medvedev era when she's in the US Open.
just be a disruptor and just feed off the fiery crowd.
Yeah, why not? It works for him.
All right, well, a convincing service game here happening for Sabalenka right after Zheng did a convincing serving game of her own.
Yeah, lots of huge serves that Zheng can't live with. So 40 love. Almost got the stats up now, but yeah, it's so far, yeah, Sabalenka, very, very impressive in what she's bringing to the table here. Great block back return from Zheng, forehand Sabalenka. Zheng lifts it up and over the baseline, and Sabalenka's coming to net. 4-1 change of ends. First return Zheng's managed to get in play for a while. It still wasn't enough, unfortunately.
Ariba, her coach. This is a second slam final in a row for him.
Oh yeah, because he was with Coco. Yeah. I think those of you who were watching the intro would have seen Jack and I talking about that and how, things may be making more of a big deal of. Although that was more win for set, but yeah, Ariba going back. That was interesting. But so far, Zheng seems to be bringing out the best in Zheng.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, Sabalenka dropped 16 games before the semi-final and then dropped another 10 in the semi-final. So Sabalenka's dropped 31 games so far, so no, she's not on for this record. Not quite, though very impressive, not quite as dominant as some of the names mentioned, like Steffi Graf and Serena Williams. Zheng gets a serve in. Sabalenka's put the backhand into the net. So again, Zheng very much better service games than her opening one. Although having said that, I think that break was again more down to Sabalenka just coming at her and taking it and being really strong out the blocks than Zheng doing anything wrong. So now we've got a second point of the match. First serve's gone long. That first serve percentage might be dropping now. We'll have to see. Second serve for the Chinese player. Really, she's second. Oh gosh, she's got a let. Came right off the top of the net.
Great return from Sabalenka just now. Just capitalized on that second serve.
Okay, so we got to. So it's turned to a rally. I don't know. So yeah, just seeing the return now. Yeah, huge return winner on the full hand, 15-all. What's your thoughts on Zheng's service action? It seems to be very wide stance.
It seems almost like counterproductive. Her back is like really bent, and I see sometimes she's almost falling over and has to redo the toss. So I wonder if that's something that maybe they will eventually work on. I mean, her serve is good when it's on, but it seems like the margin for error is pretty wide with that kind of toss.
Yeah, it's almost like she knows it could produce a lot of power doing it like that, but obviously it's very high risk in terms of consistency. Backhand from Zheng to the forehand of Sabalenka is long over the baseline, 30-15. Zheng probably got out of trouble a little bit there because they were just trading up the middle of the court, and that was going to be Sabalenka's bread and butter if she hadn't just overhit the forehand right back to Zheng. So probably an unforced error for the defending champion, the number 2 seed. Probably some people would expect her to be number 1 seed before the end of the last year. But anyway, huge serve from Zheng, unreturned, 40-15. That's where that sort of wide service action comes in for the benefit. Someone else with a sort of an interesting service action who didn't make the final. Rybakina. What do you think of that sort of twist she does sort of midway through?
It seems very robotic almost. It's like 2 movements happening all at once, but it works for her. So
yeah, it does. Although she is someone else who can be a bit streaky when it comes to first serve percentages. Maybe a bit of a surprise that she's not the one in the final. We're having a rematch of last year, but Anna Blinkova played the match of her life in round 2. I mean, I think Rybakina was a little off in that match, but Blinkova also produced some outstanding tennis, and it just got a little bit messy from both towards the end. No, I believe that tiebreak is still happening. So, I mean, depending on how this one goes, would you say that match was match of the tournament so far? Like this year, Blinkova, Rybakina, women on the women's side?
I mean, I didn't get to watch it. It was happening in the middle of the night. I woke up and watched the tiebreak, so I feel like I didn't have the effect if I was watching it live.
First 2 sets were actually pretty good quality, and then the third set, it was a break fest, and then a tie break fest. 15-all in this game, by the way.
Favorite match has been. I'm gonna have to revisit all the matches that I've seen.
I think it's probably going to be match of the Australian Open just for the pure base of the tie break. I think if I was going to go with quality matches, it would be probably one of the eager 3 setters, either the one she won or the one she lost. Huge as Sabalenka goes for a serve, Zheng puts the return attempt into the tram line. She looks very annoyed with herself that it didn't quite reach the court. So Sabalenka's serving at 30-15. Now that's a proper service action right there, really compact. But unfortunately, doesn't help her there because it does go long when trying to go up the tee. So she's got a second serve. That's working mid-box, but it gets in. Backhand to the backhand of Zheng looped up and over the baseline. Zheng couldn't live with the power and depth coming right at her, and it's 40-15. Yeah, you can definitely see the work that Sabalenka's done on her second serve on that point. Even if it was middle of the box, that serve could have gone out in previous years. It's a little bit more controlled. Sabalenka serves.
Rally just there. Great power. Forehand to forehand cross courts. Too much power from Sabalenka.
Okay, too much power from Sabalenka for Zheng to live with. Yeah, I was wondering, is that going to be too much power because it's out, or too much power because you're...
I have to leave my remarks a little ambiguous for when you get there.
Set me up, yeah. So for those of us maybe who are a little bit behind in Europe, behind with the stream, yeah, basically too much power for Zheng to live with on the cross court, and yeah, although Zheng got a record on it, there was no hope of controlling it. And Sabalenka is changing ends at 5-2. Pretty straightforward set for her, right?
Yep. Nothing too crazy. You know, sometimes you'll see the score and it's like, oh, it's 6-4, and then you'll rewatch and she was down love 4 and then won 6 games in a row or something like that.
I tell you what, you can tell the points haven't been particularly long because, you know, we're only 23 minutes in and we're pretty much at the end of the first set. Like, I feel like I blinked and this match is happening.
I know. Every match I've been a part of live this year has ended up being extremely long. So I wonder if that will happen here, or if the curse of that will break.
That's going to require a level drop from Sabalenka, though, right?
I do remember now what my favorite match to watch of the tournament was. It was definitely Świątek versus Collins, because I was live watching that one. The comeback, that was a good one.
Yes, Colin. Yeah, I mean, I caught that one on catch up, but I did watch it. No, I skipped the second set. But yeah, the
tension throughout that entire match, it was like, oh my gosh, like it really felt like ego was gone. So the comeback, you would have liked that one live.
Yeah, I mean, I watched it. I didn't know the score when I watched the catch up. I deliberately just turned on the.
Oh, you did. Oh, you did watch it. Okay,
I watched it, but I watched it without checking the score.
Oh, that's good.
So, like, I woke up, watched it, and then was the tennis ball from Sabalenka narrowly misses the ball girl and hits the umpire's chair. Like, that's close.
Like, her hair blew.
Great. I'd like, you know, you can see her flinching, but like, great job from her just not physically react more than that. Love 30 for Sabalenka, and so far as sort of the Zheng is spraying forehands a little bit in this game. Bianca is definitely very popular right now. Love 30. Zheng abandons that ball toss, goes for this one here, puts it into the net, puts the serve into the net, right in the low part of the net as well. That was that's definitely a tight serve from the Chinese player, who then goes up middle with the second serve. Forehand Zheng, long, under pressure from the Sabalenka return. Love 40, 3 set points for Aryna Sabalenka to win this set 6-2. She hasn't dropped a set yet this tournament. She's only dropped 33 games. This is going to put the pressure right on Zheng. This is going to make the comeback even harder if this is going to happen. First serve into the net from Zheng Qinwen. So Sabalenka is going to be looking at second serve at love 40 for the first set. Oh, it's the second serve ace from Zheng Qinwen.
She doesn't look really convinced. She looks confused there, but that looked well inside the line.
Look, yeah, we've got electronic line calling at the Australian Open, so that is definitely in. Yeah, every replay I'm seeing is showing that's in.
Whew. Great 1-2 just there from Zheng.
Sabalenka gets that return in play, but Zheng redirects really, really well with the tightest possible angle. Put it too far away for Sabalenka to run down. It's 30-40. That's a second set point saved. Where's that come from?
And another ace. Wow.
Ace on set point. So Zheng is basically saying, no, you're not double breaking me, Aryna. You're going to have to work for this one. Maybe not so easy, Jake. Maybe not so easy. Zheng's getting ready. Sabalenka's looking a little annoyed, but I don't think any of those were her fault. That was Zheng playing the outstanding points.
Yeah. Backhand into the net from Sabalenka.
Backhand into the net.
Gary was on his feet.
His player's still alive in this set. Yeah, that was hard to say on that one. Was that Sabalenka going for too much on that? Was that an unforced error or a forced error with her serve? It's gone down as an unforced error on the stat. Maybe she should have made it. Second serve return on the backhand up the line, but she put it in the high part of the net. Yeah, probably should have made it. First serve long from Zheng Qinwen to try and close out this game and make Sabalenka serve out this set, make her work for this match, make her work for this second Australian Open title. Double fault. Double fault. That was what the exhale from Bianca was. Timing. After 4 excellent points, the double fault. First of the match. Which, hey, you know, that's fine.
What's the serve? Her body was almost falling over. The angle on that.
So really out of position on it. Oh, yeah. First serve. Way out wide. Huge ace. Crazy angle on it. Crazy angle. That can't have been deliberate, right?
No. Another good serve. And what a hold. They've each had a love 40 hold in this set.
That is true, yeah. John's pointing out in the chat, you know, Zheng Qinwen had 3 break points earlier on. That, you know, in that scenario, what's that? That's 4-all in this match. She's just stopped Sabalenka from breaking to serve for the match. If she'd got those breaks, it'd be a much more competitive set.
Just gonna make her serve it out. Let's see if it's as convincing service game as hers have been so far.
Here we go. Aryna Sabalenka is bouncing. She's getting ready to serve out this set. She's hoping to anyway. Still taking her time over it. I'm not sure if the crowd's just not settling right now. Wouldn't surprise me.
Starts with an excellent first serve.
Unsurprisingly for Sabalenka. Here we go. Finally on my screen, she serves. Yeah, that was too good. Zheng got a racket on it, but too much velocity for her to deal with. 15 love for the Australian Open champion. So let's see how long she takes between points here. No, she's straight on this one. First serve is in the net. So we've got a second serve incoming for Sabalenka. Again, sort of steadying herself a little bit, but now she's into the service motion again, much improved from previous years. Backhand from Zheng to the backhand of Sabalenka. Forehand Zheng. They trade up the middle of the court. Now Sabalenka's going for the forehand cross-court. Zheng's got to really attack the cross-court angle. Sabalenka tried to go up the line, but misses it just 15-all. She was kind of, I can see why she was trying to change direction because the space was there, but yeah, maybe that shot wasn't quite as on as she thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, another good first serve from her on the deuce side. I wonder if have you been seeing that she's been signing her performance coach's head every match?
She's been doing what?
Signing the head of her performance coach every match. Jason Stacy, the one in the glasses there.
Signing his head?
Signing his head.
No, I have not seen this.
Yeah, he's had a signature on his head every match, so I'm just trying to see if we can get the angle to see if it's on his head in this one.
I mean, surely by this point it would have come off. I mean, they're in Australian summer. He's going to have had to have a shower at some point. Backhand, forehand from Sabalenka cross court. Zheng loops up. Backhand from Sabalenka to the backhand of Zheng cross court is a winner. 30-all. No, it's 40-30. She missed it. That looked so close to the line. I thought that was a winner, but the camera angle was deceiving. Yeah. I had a 50-50 chance. Never mind. Set points for Aryna Sabalenka at 40-15 to take the lead, the decisive lead in this match and make a comeback from Zheng even harder. First serve is wide, though, from Aryna Sabalenka. So she's bouncing the ball, getting ready for the second, trying to steady herself, remembering all of her training. It's like a Jedi. Second serve from Sabalenka. Zheng, huge forehand. Sabalenka has to scramble that up. Huge forehand again from Zheng back behind. Cross-court winner, 40-30, and that's a 4th set point that Zheng Qinwen has saved.
Wow.
Like, and it's very much saved. Like, she's...
It's not anything that Sabalenka has been doing wrong.
No. Zheng seems to is playing her best tennis with her back as pressed up against the wall as you could get.
The serve is too good from Aryna, and that is the first set.
No surprise there. Sabalenka bringing out the big serves when she needs them. 6-3, 33 minutes. Not as straightforward a set as it was looking like when we were looking at sort of 5-2 love 40. But yeah, and also she's not broken Zheng since Zheng's opening service game. So there's hope that the second set might be pretty tight.
Yeah. The level was definitely raising there from Zheng. Obviously, 4 set points saved. Forehand was on fire. Some crazy returns there. And if we can get that serve, another one of those crazy angle serves, if she's able to do more of those, that will be interesting going into set 2.
Yeah, that's mad. So actually, Zheng has been serving pretty well with their first set. There was 63% first serve in, 73% won. But Sabalenka, 59% first serve in, 94% won behind her first serve. I don't think I've ever seen a first serve percentage won at the end of a set so high. Or I probably have, but like 94% is a ludicrously high stat for points won behind the first serve. Interestingly, Zheng's hit more winners than Sabalenka. 11-4. Which makes sense because Zheng's been getting her racket on balls that would be winners for Sabalenka.
And then hitting them wide, I guess. Or
and then unable to control. But yeah, maybe that's a sign that Sabalenka is just relying on power and not necessarily angles here. Whereas Zheng probably Zheng is probably using a few more of the angles caught and Sabalenka not able to reach the spots she's hitting into. So yeah, that's a mad stat right there. Low on forced error count, yeah. Despite Sabalenka having the advantage, both players are playing pretty well. You have an opening point of the second set. Backhand from Zheng to the backhand of Sabalenka. They're trading up the middle, but Sabalenka's gone long. 15 love. Yeah, decent match so far. I would say, despite feeling one-sided. I'm not watching this kind of going, oh, but Zheng's not, like, you can't say Zheng's not playing well because she's doing all right. Just Sabalenka's being amazing in certain categories. First serve along from Zheng Qinwen. Second serve coming up. Watch her feet get into position for the serve. Backhand, Sabalenka in play. Backhand to the forehand of Sabalenka. Sabalenka had to get right on the ground to try even to hit it, but it's right in front of her. No hope of controlling it. 30 love. If you are new here, by the way, please do hit the subscribe button and you will see the subscriber numbers tick up in live time. Or even if you aren't new, give this video a like so that other people can find our commentaries. Obviously, we've got this one, we've got the men's final tomorrow, and future Grand Slam coverage coming up, although it's a few months away to the next one. Let's not rush it. Let's enjoy this one. Second serve from Zheng Qinwen is into the... No, it's a first serve into the net. No, it's definitely double fault. Double fault, 30-15. Like, is that first serve? No, she wasn't reacting like it. I'm relying on the scoreboard here. Here we go. Second double fault of the match for Zheng Qinwen. 30-15, giving Sabalenka a little bit of help in this game. We've got Marcus in the chat, who's an Aryna fan. Hello, Marcus.
Aye, and that's 2 double faults in a row.
2 double faults for Zheng Qinwen. Suddenly getting tight at this point. No idea why. So suddenly from 30 love, 30 all, and a little bit of chance for Sabalenka to get the early break here on Rod Laver Arena in the Australian Open Women's Final.
What a return from Aryna. First serve was good from Zheng, but the return was better.
And the Sabalenka return is not talked about enough, to be honest, in terms of how good quality she can get in it, especially off a serve as big as Zheng. So it's, again, breakpoint chance for Aryna Sabalenka. She's not taken her most recent breakpoint chances, but maybe she will here. But we know that Zheng, with back against the wall, plays so much better. Zheng serves out wide. Backhand from Sabalenka in play. Oh, no. It's just long on the first serve. It's just long. So we've got a second serve for Zheng Qinwen. Bianca's head is in her hands. I think I know what's coming here. And I'm right, because it's a double fault. It's three double faults.
She gave Sabalenka that game.
She really did. And again, it's the classic commentator thing of like, oh yeah, this match has been like this so far. It's been pretty good quality.
You're like, oh, this serve's not bad. It's 60% first serves in. Boom.
Yeah. Not only that, but that is a definite drop in quality from Zheng to give away that game.
Do we know her stats when it comes to winning from a set down?
I'm probably sure they exist out there somewhere. Someone fire up Tennis Abstract.
I've been searching quietly, but I can't find anything.
Someone fire up Tennis Abstract quickly. Or Jake's usually got his finger on the stats. He might be able to get that way. I mean, Jake, you're saying it's not as bad as Lisicki. I don't think this is comparable to Lisicki, even with the three double faults. I mean, Lisicki at Wimbledon 2013, Madison Keys, US Open 2017. Those were matches where, the losing finalist didn't really show up. Like, Zheng is trying to show up, but it's just not going her way. They're trading forehands at the minute at the opening point of the second game of the second set. Zheng is scrambling that one, though. Sabalenka puts that forehand into the net, an ascendancy in this game, and it's love 15. She was up in that rally. She should not have netted that forehand. Of course, yeah. If Sabalenka drops quality as well, then we're in for a much messier second set. I doubt it, but let's see. It's still love 15. Sabalenka is going to get the first serve. Backhand from Zheng, however, is in, but the first serve from Sabalenka wasn't valid, so she's got to do this again. Oof. Is this a bad first serve or a good one? I don't know. Sabalenka serves on the line. Yeah, that was way too good. It hit the service line with such velocity. No hope of Zheng controlling that backhand. 15-all. And that's exactly what we were talking about there of Zheng's getting rackets on these. She can't control it. Physically unable
to step back a little bit, maybe. She's right on the baseline for the first serves.
She wasn't on the baseline for that one. She was actually standing pretty far back, but that was still an ace from Sabalenka up the tee for 30-15. They've got the first serve speeds. And actually, their speeds are pretty similar in terms of first serve. 188 to 183 kilometers per hour. Don't know what the MPH is, which is what sane people use. First serve into the net. I don't know. Which do they use in Canada, Bianca?
I feel like it changes.
Okay, never mind. I don't know, because it's the English-French thing, so it could be either. Second serve from Sabalenka. Backhand, cross-court from Zheng. Sabalenka changes direction. The backhand, Zheng puts the forehand, just lands in. Sabalenka's really having to scramble it. Zheng goes right back at Sabalenka. You can't control it, and it's 30-all. That was a really good point from Zheng Qinwen.
Risky. Sabalenka could have swiped that one back in.
Yeah, I don't know why she... Yeah, that's really true. Like, it was good. She had enough power on it that like there was no hope of Aryna controlling it. But yeah, I did think, why has she gone back at Sabalenka when she had all that space right there?
Oof, good return. Just a bit long, but was able to do something with it at least.
Yeah, so 40-30, Sabalenka game point to try and consolidate this break early in the second set. That was a 169k serve. So she took a little bit off the serve there. Maybe just wanting to get that first serve in. Backhanded play from Zheng. Backhand Sabalenka up the middle of the court. Backhand from Zheng. Backhand Sabalenka. They're trading backhands right now. Zheng puts her backhand into the net, and it's game Sabalenka. She consolidates. It's 6-3-2 love in this match.
Wow.
Ghosty was wondering where you were.
Oh. Ghost, we actually use goose quacks per second.
Oh yeah, Canadian geese. Took a while.
Dangerous creatures.
Any type of geese is. There's Waldo. Any type of geese is dangerous, whether they're Canadian or English. Don't mess with them. Anyway, someone else you shouldn't mess with is Aryna Sabalenka, who's trying to get on the serve of Zheng Qinwen, and that was almost a winner, but it just missed the line. So 15 love. Again, a little bit down on the serving speeds there. Maybe the 188 was kind of the max, and that's not what they're consistently serving at. First serve is long from Zheng Qinwen. So we're getting on to a second serve here. Second serve for Sabalenka to look at. Zheng, wide stance serve, out wide, backhand Sabalenka cross court. Zheng, it puts it in the net. It was a very deep return on the second serve from Sabalenka. I thought Zheng could have picked it up maybe, but maybe it was too. Maybe the angle and the depth from Sabalenka was too good, and it's 15-all. So Zheng is getting ready to do a second serve again. Really wide stance on that serve, but gets the first serve in, steps in mid-court, puts away the forehand. Winner, 30-15. Positive point there from Zheng. Are you ready, Zheng? I'm not sure it's comparable to that.
No.
Really wasn't. I mean, I didn't see the first two sets of that. I only saw the tie break and then set 4.
Same.
Which was much more of a closer match. I think, certainly. Second set from Zheng. First return in play from Sabalenka on the forehand. Forehand inside out from Sabalenka. Backhand from Zheng cross court. Cross court into the middle by Sabalenka, but it's over the baseline. It's 40-15. Sabalenka's sighing like she's expecting herself to be a double break up already. Got Aryna's coach encouraging her, saying, "No, come on, you're still up a set and a break." I'm going to guess that's a Zheng. Oh, mega backhand. That's a mega backhand return from Sabalenka. Yeah, and it kicks up off the line. Like, that's a lot less flat than it
I think
usually is.
Zheng thought that the serve was out. She didn't even move for it.
Yeah. That was a weird point. That Sabalenka kind of giving herself a half smile, knowing she was a little bit lucky to have won that point. But it's 40-30. Oh, that's a very wild serve from Zheng. Wild, wide, barely made the tram lines. Second serve. Oh, bit of hesitation on that toss. Forehand in play from Sabalenka. Zheng just clears it on her backhand, and now she's really under pressure from Sabalenka, who's at the net. Got the overhead. Zheng loops it up. Sabalenka's going to have a bounce smash here to hit. She does. Puts it away. Deuce. She's fist pumping here. She wants that double break. She wants that 3-3 love lead. Yeah, I don't know why. I think I saw a slight hesitation on that second serve toss from Zheng. That
there is a hesitation in her toss in general. Like, it's a 1-2 on the toss.
It's always like there was a beat and then she hit it.
Yeah.
First serve out wide from Zheng. Sabalenka gets it back in play, but Zheng goes back behind with the forehand for a winner, and it's advantage to Zheng.
Has the trophy always been in this Louis Vuitton case? I feel like I'm just registering that, or is that new for this year?
I mean, I don't remember it being there before, but we know that my memory's not too good. I can't even remember who won the Australian Open 10 years ago. Backhand in play from Sabalenka, but it was off a first serve that didn't count. It was off the top of the net from Zheng. So she's got another attempt at a first serve here.
Oop. And we have some disruption in the crowd.
Protester?
I think so.
It's either a protester or someone being ill.
Always on a break point.
Or someone's yelling for some reason. They're not showing it. The camera's still only on Zheng at the minute. Now it's switched to Sabalenka. They're not showing what's going on. Security's out. Okay, John thinks the Louis Vuitton case is new. If anyone's watching with sound, if you could let us know what's going on, that would be great.
Yeah, I think we had some guests in the audience. They were just chanting ceasefire now. So that's obviously in...
That's in Israel, Palestine.
Yeah.
Reference.
Looks like I'm not sure. They're not showing the audience. I'm not sure where it's coming from. But
they probably won't be showing it. They'll be trying to avoid it. Yeah, this is the most disruptive point for both players to do this. How old are you, Sean? Because that's not happened for a while.
All right, but Zheng holds. I don't know how you feel, but whenever protests happen in the stands and people start booing them, I don't know. It's like it's usually protesting the environment or some very relevant cause. I don't know how I feel about the audience then booing the protester. It's kind of like, yeah, it's not ideal, but
I think at this particular point, especially for a lot of the audience, right, sadly, they care more about the tennis match than they do about the thing.
Yeah.
And the problem. I mean, yeah, I certainly haven't seen a protest on a tennis court that I don't have some sympathy for.
Yeah.
That I could think of, but then, but they are also pretty disruptive.
Jake, that wouldn't be surprising if they were protesting at that.
I mean, the thing is, though, he's actually...
Yeah, he's not bad. I hate to say he's not terrible.
He's not a bad commentator, actually. But he's not necessarily someone whose opinions I want to hear.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Like, if he's not going to take it seriously on a tennis court, what makes me think he's going to take seriously when he's watching it? Someone who is taking tennis seriously is Aryna Sabalenka, who is now serving at 2-1 with a break in the second set. We're into a rally at the minute. Forehand from Zheng to the backhand of Sabalenka cross court. Now Zheng's going up the line with her backhand, but too much velocity from Sabalenka, and it's 15-love for the Belarusian, forcing the error from the Chinese player. We're not even at an hour yet in this match.
Wow.
51 minutes, yeah.
Wow. Excellent return winner from Zheng just now.
On the first serve? On the first serve. Did she fluke that? Or was it just that well anticipated?
No, I don't know.
I mean, look at it. Yeah, she's on the stretch, hits it. No, that was a pretty clean strike. She got enough spin on it to just use the power that was coming at her, put some spin on it. Really awkward placement, 15-all.
I don't know about you, but I feel like even with how Sabalenka is playing, I feel like she still needs to get that second break to ensure it.
You think she might get a bit nervy if she's going to have to serve this match out?
Yeah. Even now, I mean, the crowd is, despite who, I don't know, they're rooting for or not, you can always tell when the underdog is starting to make some headway. They'll cheer for them. I don't know if that's going to throw her off at all.
I mean, she's thrown off a little bit because she's put that forehand wide, kind of pushed back by Zheng. And it's 15-30, and Zheng's got a little bit of a half chance to get back on parity in this second set. So we're at an interesting point here. First serve from Sabalenka, out wide. Zheng scrambles it. Sabalenka's going to come in to the net, puts her overhead away, 30-all. I mean, I wouldn't expect it. I mean, like, I wouldn't expect it. I mean, we know Sabalenka suffers from nerves a little bit, but not as bad as she used to. First serve here from Sabalenka is on the out wide. Zheng's return is still pretty good and deep, but Sabalenka keeps it going. Now we're into a proper rally. Backhand at the line from Sabalenka. Zheng slides in for the forehand, can't control it, puts it in the net, 40-30. Yeah, so gets herself. She's so far got herself out of trouble in this game. But let's see how it goes. 2-1, 40-30. Sabalenka needs to just get this game out of the way, set herself down a bit.
Yeah, I don't see the full collapse happening, especially because she's literally done this before. Like, she can always tell herself that.
And against tougher, against an opponent who is making her life a lot harder than Zheng is at the minute.
Yeah.
Not through any fault of Zheng's own. Like, Zheng's not playing badly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Zheng tries to do the block back return, but it goes over the baseline. It's game Sabalenka 3-1. Yeah, like Zheng's actually played pretty well at points.
Yeah, I wouldn't say she's played bad at all. It's just Sabalenka's just doing Aryna Sabalenka things.
I really honestly think the only people who could live with Sabalenka on this day would have been like Goff in the semi-finals was living with her for most of that match, apart from the early part of it and the very end. And Rybakina, I think, would probably be taking it to her. I'm not sure about Świątek, given the speed of the courts, but...
Okay, we've got a first drop shot there from Zheng, the first one I can remember in the match, and it pays in dividends for her. Maybe we'll see that shot come in again.
It took her a set and a half to use a drop shot. It's like, I can do that.
Try it.
Were you a fan of the drop shot?
Like,
how's your drop shot, Bianca?
It was awful. I never did it.
You never did it.
No. My game plan was Sabalenka, just hit as hard as I can.
There we go. So you're a ball basher.
An ace. I remember getting out of many a match just acing.
I mean, yeah, that's the Sabalenka game plan all over.
Yeah.
15-all at the minute in this game. I want to see where this point goes because that's going to decide whether
the return was good from Sabalenka if that serve was in.
Yeah, well, no, the serve wasn't in because Zheng was resetting, getting the second ball out of her pocket. This is a second serve.
And we have another double fault.
Oh dear. We know what happens last time.
I know.
Is there something about this end? Because I'm pretty sure it's the same end she served all that double faults in before.
Yeah. What side is that? The deuce side. No, well, actually, she served
the end of the court.
So,
like, I don't know.
That side. Oh, yeah. It's the same side.
Yeah. I don't know because obviously they don't have the royal box end like they do at Wimbledon, so I don't know how you differentiate.
Oof.
In Rod Laver Arena. Yeah. Backhand. Under pressure. Oh, Zheng tried to go. Zheng's passing shot. Sabalenka's intercept was, right at the floor and has no control. 30-all. Field note supporting Zheng. Yeah. Was that a... Yeah, that was a really good pass from Zheng. I don't think Sabalenka had much hope of getting that back in play.
Yeah, no.
So hopefully Zheng can get herself out of trouble here, but she aborts the ball toss.
Oh, wow. Surprised Sabalenka got that return back in, but...
Zheng still puts away that backhand at the net.
Very close to the line just now. She didn't have to do that, go that big.
She didn't have to go back that big, but she did. I mean, I don't know. Big implies power. I think she was just really playing with the angle there.
She likes the angle.
Ghost saying Saba winning 92% of her first serves. Okay, so it's gone down by 2% since we saw the stat at the end of set 1. Backhand in play from Sabalenka to the backhand up the line from Zheng is into the high part of the net, and it's deuce. He said 40 all. We don't do that here. This is not. We are not speaking on the continent. It's deuce. So a little bit of pressure situation for Zheng Qinwen.
And the first serve is into the net.
This is a really big opportunity for Sabalenka to get that double break that we were saying earlier she really, really, really wants.
You already know, Nick. You already know.
It's a double fault, isn't it? Yeah.
Aye.
That was not going over. Yeah, that hits the top of the net and bounces right back on Zheng's side.
Huge opportunity for Sabalenka here. Effectively a match point.
Yeah, effectively. 6 double faults from Zheng Qinwen, and that's just in this set. In fact, probably from the first game and this game. Great serve from Zheng to get out of trouble, though. Oh no, it was a let. It was a let. Oh, that's going to be gutting for Zheng because that was such a good tee serve right in the corner. If it hadn't clipped the net, Sabalenka would have been able to live with it. So Zheng's
we get a gasp from the crowd.
Oh yeah, that's not good. She really went for it. She changed direction. She wanted to go out wide, put it in the middle of the net, middle of the high part of the net, as it were. Gets that second serve in. Backhand rocket return from Sabalenka. Changes direction to go cross court on the forehand. Zheng goes up the line. Backhand cross court. Sabalenka moving Zheng around. Scrambles the backhand. Backhand Sabalenka. Trading backhands right now. Sabalenka's moving onto the forehand from the middle of the court.
Point of the match.
What on earth is that? Backhand from Zheng to the backhand of Sabalenka cross court. Zheng slides into it. Back behind. Oh, what a wonderful touch volley from Sabalenka.
Completely changed the angle on that one. Great little drop volley there.
Yeah.
Smart play. I feel like I was waiting for her to make a wild error and it never came.
Yeah. So for those who maybe not have seen it, Sabalenka came into net behind that angled backhand, which Zheng was hitting right back at her, and she did a sort of a touch volley drop shot right behind Zheng on the cross court.
Yeah, Ghost. I love their kits. I think Nike has done well with the women's kits this year. This green one. There's also a yellow one that Emma Raducanu was wearing.
Yeah.
It's fun.
And Andreeva.
Oh, yes.
And Azarenka, I think, was wearing the yellow as well. Sabalenka's the only one I was seeing wearing the red.
I think it's another custom kit. They keep giving her the same silhouette. It's the same dress that she wore last year, and it's the same one from the US Open. It's just different print.
Maybe it just feels comfortable.
It's got her to 3 Slam finals, so you just keep it the same.
Did they change the design for the French and Wimbledon? I mean,
the French she wore shorts, like it was a top and shorts, and then Wimbledon it was a little bit different. It was like a kind of cross hatching print because obviously it's white, so they played with texture there. But I don't think it was custom. I think everybody had a similar one.
Yeah, that makes sense. So we've got Sabalenka, put the first serve into the net, second serve in play, backhand in play from Zheng, backhand cross-court Sabalenka, backhand up the line from Zheng, forehand cross-court Sabalenka, up the line from Zheng. They're just moving each other side to side at the minute. Zheng tries to go back behind on the backhand. Now they're trading backhands. Sabalenka goes for the middle of the court. Zheng's got a forehand, just clears the net. Forehand into the net from Sabalenka, love 15. That was an unforced error.
Mm-hmm.
Although she did look like she was going backwards a little bit when she was hitting the shot, which is something you probably shouldn't be doing as a tennis player unless under a lot of pressure. Gertie seems to be of the impression that Zheng's a clay courter, but she's definitely comfortable on it. But I think her game should work on all surfaces.
Aye. 2 errors in a row from Sabalenka.
Maybe this is why the double break was needed.
It's needed for sure.
Yeah, there was a backhand into the net again from a position that she should have got that back in court. Maybe given we've now passed the hour mark in the match, maybe like Cinderella, she could only play so well for so long.
Or also, you know, Zheng's back is against the wall. She's probably thinking, you know, I have nothing to lose really. Let me just start ripping it, because I don't know if these are completely unforced errors, you know, like the ball is going very deep, almost to Sabalenka's feet, and she's just not getting anything on them, but still error.
I mean, this is telling you something. Okay, Zheng's first serve percentage has dropped to 45% in play this set. This is what's really losing her it, because her points won behind her first serve are super high. They're into the 70s. Sabalenka's still on 80-something%, not as high as it was in set 1, which is 90, which is ludicrous. 15-30 at the minute. Sabalenka hit an unreturnable serve. Backhand long from Zheng, trying to get the second serve return. It's 30-all now. Yeah, at the minute, like, I think those serving stats kind of encapsulates that, like, both players are playing well, but Sabalenka's just playing better. Like, she's just a level above what Zheng can produce at the minute.
Yeah.
$30-all. Huge set from Sabalenka. No hope of anyone getting that back in court. 40-30. Zheng got a racket on it, but not quite there. So she's got a point to put herself a game away from a second Australian Open title.
Whew.
And yeah, I'm gonna guess that's a monster. Although it was a monster serve, but it was the +1 forehand that was even bigger.
+1, that was great.
5-1. Zheng is going to be serving to stay in the
match.
Keep us like, yeah. I mean, her back's really going to be against the wall here, and she's on the end that, you know, she's holding more comfortably from. So I'm relatively optimistic that Zheng will hold here and force Sabalenka to serve it out, which I don't normally say when the player's serving.
Oh, whoa. Weird point there just now. I think Sabalenka thought her volley was out.
So, yeah, Sabalenka, scoops up the volley. Zheng goes for a backhand pass because the volley was in and finishes at the point. 15-love.
She did a weird movement there when she hit that volley.
Yeah. That was very much a trying to scoop it and spin it in, which, of course, Zheng could pick off.
I agree, Sean. I am looking forward to when Andreeva's older, because she's kind of already going up against big power hitters. So
there we go. So yeah, Zheng bouncing the ball, getting ready to serve.
Holy crap! Wow!
That is a huge return from Sabalenka, who then bludgeons Zheng with a forehand. But that passing shot, is that in?
It hit the line.
It hit the line. Yeah, that passing shot from Zheng, it was a passing shot. Technically a lob, even though it wasn't high. Cleans the corner back, almost back at the baseline. 30-love. Yeah, Zheng serves at the tee, ace. No, second, missed it. It's just wide.
Oh, what a return from Sabalenka.
What do we got coming up here? Yeah, backhand. Oh, yeah. Zheng got a racket on it, but it was a huge
somehow, because she's tucked that right on the line, but she was still there.
Yeah, I mean, it was almost a cross court backhand.
Yeah.
Onto the up the line, as it were. 30-15 puts a bit of pressure on Zheng in this game. Sabalenka 3 points away from the title. Gets the returning pull. No, she's
Jason's head is signed. They just cut to it. I don't know if you can see it on your stream.
Not yet. Oh yeah. Okay, so it's not come off yet. I wonder where she's going to put the next signature.
Well, I'm sure she's re-signing it every day. I don't think he's just been walking around with an unwashed head.
That would make sense. So first serve is long from Zheng. So we've got a second serve coming up from Zheng to try and serve this game out and take us to a change of ends. Forehand from Sabalenka is wide on the return. Game Zheng. They're going to change ends at 5-2. Sabalenka's kind of rolling her eyes, going as if she's expecting to make that return. Weirdly, this set's actually 2 minutes longer than the first.
Somehow. You know, Nick, I think I've been. Would you say I've been pretty impartial during this? You know my thoughts on.
You've done pretty well, yeah.
I do have a graphic that I made that I may have to put up behind me.
Okay.
You know.
you do what you want. You do what you want. Yeah, I mean, look, obviously we're into this change of ends, but thoughts on? Oh yeah, Sabalenka the Tiger, ready?
Horrendous that I made this morning when I woke up, but
are you being a little bit premature with putting that up? You know it's going to be really awkward if Zheng breaks the game.
As you say that, because I don't want the commentator's curse, we're going to take it right back down.
Put it up afterwards.
We'll put it up afterwards.
It feels kind of inevitable that Sabalenka's going to win this, but it might end up being the hard way. Zheng might get with this break.
I wouldn't be surprised if Zheng breaks back now, but we'll see. The service games have been very solid, so
yeah. From Sabalenka, Zheng has faced break point because Sabalenka had 3 break points. I had love 40 on her serve.
Right.
To love set 1.
In the last final, didn't she double faulted on the first point and then double faulted on the match point?
I think so, yeah. I don't really remember fully. 15 love, Sabalenka, unreturnable first serve, as Bianca described. We're going to hit 12 seconds on the shot clock. She gets to 10 seconds on the shot clock before she does the motion. But first serve is long. So we've got a second serve. Agree with you, Miles. It has been a solid performance from both. I do have my thoughts on the performance. The sets were decided by 2 different things. Unreturnable serve from Sabalenka. The backhand from Zheng didn't even find anywhere on the court. It's love 30. 30 love even. Sabalenka 2 points away from a second Australian Open title. Bianca's finger is hanging over the mouse, ready to change the background.
My fingers, my toes, everything. I'm ready to pounce to change this.
Pounce like a tiger. 30 love for Aryna Sabalenka.
Nice.
Here we go.
Wow. 3 championship points for Sabalenka. Potentially moments away from her second Grand Slam title.
Unreturnable serve to set that up. 40 love. She's stepping out on the court. Sabalenka, so close to being a 2-time Grand Slam champion. We thought it might come sooner than this, but it's here now. First serve is wide. It wasn't out by much. So second serve. Let's see what Zheng can do on this.
Tries to redirect Zheng's return, but it goes just wide.
There we go. Forehand from Sabalenka. Oh, yeah.
Just wide.
Just wide. I was wondering what you were talking about. It's like, wait, Zheng got the return back in play. What about?
Point. I believe it took her 4 last time. Let's see.
But yeah, and she took her 4 at Madrid as well, I think. So let's see. I think it shouldn't be as nervy. Right. Serve from Sabalenka. Huge return from Zheng. Forehand Sabalenka again is long. 40-30. Bianca's impatient to get the tiger background out. Come on, Aryna, get it together.
Right. One more championship point.
Third championship point here on Rod Laver Arena in the Australian Open women's final. Aryna Sabalenka is bouncing the ball, getting ready. Gold chain around her neck. Looks towards Zheng. Gets into service motion. Serves wide backhand. Forehand up the line off a great return from Zheng. Forehand up the line from Zheng. Back Sabalenka on the defense. Backhand drop shot from Zheng is a winner. Saves championship point. Juice. Okay, never mind. Maybe Sabalenka is going to have to wait for a 4th championship point. I mean, okay, so we've had 2 unforced errors from Sabalenka, and then Zheng being just all over her on that point.
Zheng really plays well when her back is against the wall.
I think that's how she got through her third round match against Wang Yifeng, because I'm pretty sure that went to a deciding tiebreak.
Yeah.
I didn't see it, but I was kind of surprised.
First serve is great. Championship point number 4.
Yeah.
Charm.
Unreturned serve for Aryna Sabalenka. So here we go. Try again.
Okay, second serve here.
Yeah, the first serve is just long. She's not missing these serves by much.
Yeah. Second serve is good. Good return from Zheng, but Sabalenka dumps it into the net. Girl, come on!
Oh. Is that what's that I hear breaking? I think it's Bianca's impartiality.
Oh.
Yeah. So we're back to deuce. Okay, so it's going to have to take a 5th championship point. Oh, we have John Silk.
Welcome back.
He's obviously got thoughts.
First serve is good. Ooh. Oh, great shot there from Zheng to bring up a break point.
Yeah, looped up from
Flings the ball away in anger.
Really loopy from Zheng, which Sabalenka couldn't control. That's going to give her nightmares of
her first break point opportunity.
Of the set, not the match.
Of the set, yeah.
Yeah, because she hasn't had a break point chance since the first set. So big point coming up here, but not the kind of big thing we're expecting. Sabalenka serves out wide. Too good. Oh no, she's putting her hands up.
No, it was an ace, so I don't know why.
She's annoyed that she didn't do that before.
Yeah,
I think it's like, why couldn't I do this on any of the 4 championship points?
Yeah, I need to figure out a way of having some kind of headphones in, because reading body language is just ridiculous.
Right now, I've got my headphones are connected to my phone, so it's not connected to this because, as we see, I don't know why these don't work when I'm connected to my computer.
So okay, we're going to have to do that was a let on the first serve, so Sabalenka's got another go at this,
and she hits a second let.
Oh, God. This is really getting nervy from Sabalenka.
Yeah, I'm shaking.
It's a double break. She's fine. A set and a double break. She could lose this game and it's still fine.
No.
Yeah.
Good for
this is the difference between the fan and the neutral right there. I don't know where it's more tense, on Rod Laver Arena or on this stream.
And a loud come on from Aryna as Zheng hits the ball wide. Was waiting for that roar.
Yeah, they trading out the line. All kinds of different angles there, and then Zheng goes long on the forehand. Sabalenka just looks so annoyed that she's not already won. It's brilliant. That is champions mentality right there. So Aryna Sabalenka, championship point number 5. How has Zheng made her work harder than Elena Rybakina or Iga Swiatek in a big final in the last 12 months? It's out wide serve, backhand in play from Zheng, forehand put away, cross court from Sabalenka. She's got her hands in the air. And
she's done it.
She's won a 2nd Australian Open title. She's blowing kisses to her box.
Aryna Sabalenka, 2-time Grand Slam champion. And who was the last person to win back-to-back Australian Open titles? But her Belarusian sister, Miss Vika Azarenka.
Ah, there you go. Her compatriot. Yeah, 2012, 2013.
Yep.
Wow. 2-time Grand Slam champion. Feels like this should have been. She should have had 2 Grand Slams from a while ago, but it's here now.
Replicating as well Naomi Osaka's feat of winning back-to-back slams in the US and Australia. Oh, no, because she didn't win the US.
She didn't win the US.
Oh, dear.
What universe are you living in, John?
Yeah. I'm in a universe where she probably should have won that US Open final.
What a team. Hugging the team.
Yeah. Look, let's face it, Sabalenka was by far and away the best player of the entire tournament. Was not threatened by anyone really.
I mean, I know we put up some stats about not many games lost on winning, but actually, who was the last person to win a slam without dropping a set? If feels
It
like
was Ash Barty in 2022 Australian Open.
Oh, she didn't lose a set.
No.
No.
Oh wow, okay. She should have lost a set in that final to Daniel Collins. Collins was either up a double break or something like
something like that, and then it went to a tie break.
I mean, you could also say the same thing about Aryna this year. Like,
yeah.
First set to Coco.
Yeah, well, Coco was serving for it 30 love. Yeah, first set.
Although she was up in that set as well, so like that first set
5-2.
was a little bit of a mess with Coco. That was probably the point where she was really tested this tournament.
Yeah, it was a great set. It's the set that won her the title. You could argue, yeah.
Yeah, because it would have changed. Yeah, I mean, I feel like she probably would have fought back against Coco maybe in that match. But yeah,
maybe, yeah.
I think this match, what's made the difference for me, as we see them putting the name in the trophy, the Daphne Akhurst Memorial Trophy,
which I didn't even know the name of until about 2 hours ago when we began the stream and you called it, Nick. That I was like, it's the what trophy?
No.
Daphne Akhurst won 5 Australian Opens in the 1920s, 30s.
Do you think they're going to name the Birmingham Trophy after you, Nick?
No, it's already got a name. It's already got a name.
Oh, has it? Do you know the name for the Birmingham Trophy?
Not off the top of my head.
I was going to say that would be incredible.
Not the top of my head.
It's the WTA 250 in Birmingham that Nick and Jamie went to last year.
I mean, you're mentioning it way more than I am at the minute.
I know. Yeah. I'm pushing the narrative.
Yeah. Keep pushing it, John.
It's like Vanch is bigging up Krejcikova all the time just because she won San Diego, which is his hometown. Anyway, I mean, that match, that performance, the scoreline, sort of, and I think it wasn't exactly the same, but I remember the semi-final that Sabalenka had against Magda Linette last year. I mean, this semi-final and final thing that has been mentioned a lot with Aryna. I mean, she's just come up against awesome players at times. I'm seeing the word awesome from Jacob. I mean, you come up against Iga Swiatek in a semi-final and you lose in 3 sets. And that was a great match, by the way, that US Open semi-final. Yeah. It can happen. Look at her there celebrating.
Or even when she came up against Layla, I feel like she was on a tear there. So
Layla was 3 sets as well, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
The Mukova one is the sort of one when she was close to the finish line. I still don't know if the Mukova one was a lack of concentration or whether it was anxiety of being close to the finish line.
There was a lot going on during the French Open with the questions regarding, Russia and Ukraine. And she stopped going to press, I believe. And there were a couple matches where she had Zheng crying there. I don't think she should feel too bad about this performance. I mean, what happened to her just happened to everyone Aryna came up in this tournament. They just got blown away. So I don't think she should feel too bad. But regarding the French Open, there were some matches where Aryna was streaky. So her losing the semi, I wasn't like.
It's also maybe going to be the hardest one for her to win. I mean, Nick, what do you think? Yeah,
it is. Yeah, it doesn't. The slower clay. She's a better player than she was, so she can live with the pace. But someone who is she can't bludgeon her opponents in the same way as on these faster courts like hardened grass.
Or Madrid. Madrid is sort of an outlier, isn't it?
Yeah, it's that weird combo
or something.
Even then, she wasn't hitting. She wasn't able to hit Swiatek off the court, and that's partly due to Swiatek's defenses. But
Swiatek's movement on clay.
So I don't. It's going to be hard for her to win, but she came pretty close to making the final last year. It's doable, provided that Swiatek has a bad year.
Yeah, Gene here saying he's happy for Saba. Yeah, I mean, listen, I was a neutral observer. I was hoping to get 3 sets, and there was the inflection point really of the match at 2-love. So I think she was a bit anxious at the beginning. Qinwen, I mean, she lost, I think, maybe something like 8 of the first 9 points. But then she did manage to settle in that third game when she garnered 3 breakback opportunities. Aryna holds from there, and that's the match, really, in a way.
I think the sets were decided by 2 different things. It's just decided by Sabalenka coming out the blocks super fast, super well. Just like, she won 8 of the first 9 points, and she won those. Zheng didn't do anything wrong. It was just Sabalenka came out firing, and then Zheng settled, kind of shadowed Sabalenka for the rest of that set. Got herself out of trouble a couple of times, maybe missed some opportunities. No, Sabalenka, I think, saved them more than Zheng missed them. Zheng didn't really make an unforced error that I was commenting on until like the point where Sabalenka went 3-love up in the third.
Yeah.
And then the second set.
It's that game where the forehand went into the net, I remember.
But that was like right at the end. The second set, that was decided by Zheng double faulting from one end of the court. And maybe, if I was impressed, I'd probably be asking, why is that? Were you having one trouble with one end of the court? But I do think the second set, that was Zheng having 2 bad games that cost her that set. So set 1 was Sabalenka being brilliant and Zheng shadowing her, and then second set was Zheng giving Sabalenka a couple of breaks, which Sabalenka took full advantage of.
Yeah, good point here as well from Gil as well about this. When you return to an environment and you play in an environment, you do, weirdly enough, get confidence from that. You're staying in the same hotel where you were a year before, for example, or you have the same routines, and you walk onto that court, you see your name on that entry into the court, and she'll see it twice, of course, come next year. I do think it makes a difference, either to you or even your opponents too, so whether it be Rafa on Philippe Chatrier or Novak on Rod Laver, and obviously Iga is building an aura as well at Philippe Chatrier too, as I see Craig Tiley there. Looks like a man who's sort of at the end of a tournament director role after 2 weeks. I remember you spoke to the tournament director in Birmingham, Nick, and he said it was quite difficult to sort of enjoy the tennis at times because you're kind of doing a million things at once.
Yeah, exactly. And I imagine it's doubly hard for anyone who's running a Grand Slam. To be honest, there's so many different elements you've got to think of. It's not just scheduling tennis matches. There's, all the hospitality aspects. There's looking after players and whatnot. Looks like the trophies are on their way at the minute, and Yvonne Goolagong's going to be presenting the winner's trophy to Aryna Sabalenka. I think Shrihari's got made a couple of good points in the chat. Actually, which it's if Sabalenka, if Zheng had broken back in that first set, it could have been a very different match. Maybe
that was the key.
Maybe Sabalenka would have still won in straights, but that first set would have been a lot closer.
I was going to ask you, Bianca, something about... Oh, yeah, Bianca, we did a poll, or I did a poll a few days ago, maybe a bit more, maybe a week or so ago. Who was more likely to win a second slam, Sabalenka or Daniel Medvedev, funny enough? And I was sure that it was Sabalenka that was going to get to the second slam, and Medvedev was a don't know. Well, be interesting to see how the next 24 hours goes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah,
but for me, with Sabalenka, because she's got 4 shots at it every year in a way, 3 definite shots at it, and she's arguably the best player in the world, give or take. I don't quite agree with Owen's take on it in that she is the best player in the world. I still think that this is her first title since Madrid, by the way,
which is crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Runs to not do one since then is
yeah. I mean, even the semi-final against Jabeur as well. Jabeur was just amazing. She was just amazing that day. So again, you can lose to Ons at Wimbledon for sure with your pride intact, I think.
Yeah, although you then are wondering why Jabeur didn't crumble against you like she did in the final.
I don't get Jabeur sometimes. Like she did, she did all that in the semifinal only to. Anyway.
But we're not talking about Wimbledon, Australian Open. I think in terms of the match,
last game, Sabalenka didn't do anything wrong. Like she was brilliant the whole time. She executed her game pretty much to perfection.
Yeah. Very low unforced errors. Serve was great. She didn't make a single double fault.
She adds her name to the list of women who've won a Grand Slam without dropping a set.
Yeah. I still think we didn't quite see Zheng's best today, but I'm not sure that would have made a huge amount of difference in terms of the overall outcome.
Yeah, I was going to ask the question: do you think, based on today, that Zheng has the level to compete for Grand Slams? Because based on today, I'm not sure she does.
I mean, maybe it came a bit too soon.
Yeah,
this came a bit too soon. I mean, she's still young. I remember her sort of breaking out, as far as I'm concerned, when she pushed Iga at the French a couple of years ago. That's basically the only person I think who pushed Iga that year, because I think it's the year that she beat Goff in straight sets in the final. It just came a bit too soon for her. Maybe she comes up against a slightly different opponent. I think a final with Coco would have been a fun final because of the clash in styles. And I think that could have been more competitive, just because of the differences in how they are. But once it was Aryna in that final, I must say that I didn't come into this final with a lot of hope that we were going to get a classic like we had a year ago. I don't know whether you were as confident as that, Bianca.
I mean, I was just nervous. That's how I was coming into this match.
This is a scoreline that sort of sounded right to me before the match got underway.
But I think Zheng, she has clear things that we can see if she improved, how much of a dangerous player she would be. Like if the first serve percentage was, say, as high as maybe Aryna's was in the first, like throughout the entire match, she was winning some good points once she had that first serve in.
The 2 points here from Eddie is also what I touched on earlier. You know, she takes one of those 3 break points and she doesn't hit so many double faults, and there we go. She's talking now, actually. Let's see what she's got to say.
Yeah.
At the same time, I want to say thanks for all the fans who come here to watch me. And
bless her. She'll be back. The thing is that you just don't know when. It might be another couple of years. It might be 5 years. I don't know. But there's obviously some improvements. I noticed that quirky serving style during the United Cup, and I don't know whether you can radically change it. I mean, it's effective, except when she was double faulting today, which is a bit like saying the captain of the Titanic did a great job apart from the iceberg. But Nick, that you didn't want to laugh at that little joke?
It deserves a grin.
Too soon, Nick. Too soon. It's too soon for Titanic jokes. Another couple 100 years. Anyway, so I did fear the worst in a way, that I thought we might get a fairly comfy win, and also because of what can go in your favor. Listen, if you're the underdog, you might go, well, experience. Take Medvedev tomorrow. He's obviously far more experienced than his opponent in Grand Slam finals. You know, what else can go in your favor? Maybe you're fresher coming into the final, or you've got something else. You've got crowd support, or all the variables that you were looking at were kind of... So Aryna was the form player. Aryna had more experience. Aryna knows this, you know, Aryna, there we go. By the way, I saw that comment from Sherry. Good, but I don't know if it's original. I think it might have come from somewhere else. But the Rod Laver Aryna is certainly a nice phrase as she heads onto the stage to collect her award. She was relaxed. She had this perfect combination that I said that I thought she would eventually garner after winning that first Slam title a year ago. She would have this perfect combination of being both relaxed and motivated. We see it with champions that sometimes they dip afterwards. You know, Dominic Thiem being the prime example, where maybe they weren't quite as motivated in the months that followed. We also see other people that are just too tense. But she's got this perfect combination of being so motivated because she wants to make her mark. And now she's a multiple Grand Slam winner. And no surprise at all.
Absolutely not. No. Especially given that she's been competing for 1,000 titles
since she was a teenager, or very, very young in her career, like early 20s, 21. I'd say that sort of she's one of the 4 most successful players in women's tennis in the last 5 years, along with Swiatek, Osaka, and Barty. And I think she does deserve to be put in the same category as those players. Coco's coming up and will probably be in there too soon, but by which point sort of the time period is shifting. But certainly if we look at sort of last 5 years back to AO 2019, I think we can safely say that those 4 players stand out a little bit more when you look at the results.
Calendar slam, I mean, it's a long, long way off, but she's the one player on tour, I think, that can do it. Not just because she's won the first one of the year, of course, so no one else can do it. But, you know, even Iga, I think that for her across the 4 slams is a bit of a bigger ask, because I think going into the French Open right now, a lot can change, but Aryna goes into that tournament as second favorite. Going into Wimbledon, she's probably favorite. Going into the US Open, she's favorite. I mean, give or take, as long as she's healthy, she has a chance of winning all 4. But I'm not saying she's going to, but I'll be surprised, to be honest with you, if she doesn't go on to win maybe another slam even this year.
I mean, let's see who else also emerges. You know, it's not just about Iga and Aryna. Coco's in the mix.
Yeah.
I think pretty much every slam, actually.
She'll be solid. I just don't know if she runs into Iga or Aryna, whether she'll ever be the favorite in that match.
I think it'll be joint. It'll be close favourites. I don't think she'll ever have a matchup edge, but like, I don't think her performance against Aryna in that semi-final was bad. I think it was a very fine margin match. Same with the US Open final. I think Coco's got the tools to frustrate the best players in the world. And then also Rybakina. Rybakina's still lurking out there, and we don't know what kind of, you know, tournament she has, really. You know, Blinkova was able to capitalize against her having a bad day this Australian Open, but if that hadn't happened, maybe it would have been Rybakina in the final today. Never count her out. I mean, look, we saw the way she dismantled Sabalenka in Brisbane. I'm trying to think of other players I would put in the mix, but yeah, those are the 4. And then what does Osaka do? Does Osaka get back to where she was?
Yeah. Aryna has just said something that made her entire team crack up, so I'm going to see what it was.
But without you, I wouldn't be able to
Also,
achieve so much in this sport. Thank you so much for everything you're doing for me. I'll just keep repeating the same that I'm saying on each speech. So thank you so much for everything you've done for me. I mean, without me, you wouldn't be that good as well. You know?
Without me, you wouldn't be here either, or you wouldn't be that good as well. Okay, I got it. She is very funny.
Yeah, she's charming. Her speech was good.
Yeah, I've only ever come across her in press conferences, but she is pretty charming. I will say that. I do have time for her, and as there are. I mean, Iga also has charmed me with just by being so nice in Madrid to sort of speak to us, even if it was 1:30 in the morning. So I have time for both players. But she makes me giggle. That's for sure.
Aryna's got a great personality. Really enjoy.
Yeah, definitely. Bianca, what do you think about this sort of? You know, she could get back to number 1. I don't know how far she is off Iga right now, and she'll obviously have to make a final, I guess, at Indian Wells. But
yeah, I don't think she doesn't gain or lose any points right now, so I don't think she's any closer to the world number 1 as before. But I mean, we'll see how she goes throughout the year. She's been consistent in the semis, but I feel like we need consistent titles, more than 3 titles this year. I can't believe 3 titles is the most she's ever won in 1 year. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Iga's ceiling when she's on, I mean, we've seen it like the 40 match winning streaks, the 6 titles. Like, I haven't seen that from Aryna yet. So I do think in some aspects, Iga definitely still deserves to hold on to the number 1 spot.
So this is her run to the final where she just, you know, she's dropping 5, 6, 11, 16, and 26 plus 32 games. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Take a bow, Aryna Sabalenka, Australian Open champion of 2024. And as I said, I think there will be more to come. Nick, does this spook you a little bit as an eager sort of sympathizer, or is it like let battle?
No,
If she would spook him.
no more than like I'm no more spooked compared to what Sabalenka to where she was before the tournament. Sabalenka we know Sabalenka can beat Iga Swiatek. It's probably her turn to win their next match. I don't think she's more of a threat than she was before. She's about the same. She is a champion. She's a magnificent player, and deserves to be treated with the same amount of respect, whether she's got 1 or 2 Grand Slam titles. Just to confirm, she is 875 points behind Iga in the rankings. So, given that she's defending, I think
Indian Wells final,
like it's not really. I don't think world number 1's going to be a massive factor unless Iga falls, like just goes on the losing streak.
Isn't there a 1,000 tournament in the Middle East coming up?
There's 2 of them.
Yeah.
2. Oh,
Yeah, Doha and Dubai. They're both 1,000s now. They used to alternate, but now they've both been upgraded to 1,000 in the same year. They're going to go back to back. Iga has won Doha the last 2 years. Got to the Dubai final last year. Wasn't well against Pegula. No, Krejcikova. It was Krejcikova. She wasn't well.
Yeah, Nick. Yeah, you don't take away too much from my friend Barboda.
Having said that, Krejcikova, she beat Pegula and Sabalenka at that tournament as well. Like that was Krejcikova's last brilliant run, as it were. I mean,
Aryna would probably have to win her next 3 tournaments, something like that.
Essentially, yeah. Like that's gonna have to Aryna's gonna have to be like unstoppable for the next couple of months to get it. Now, I think world number 1's on the line at Roland Garros.
Yeah. If she can make the final, for example, or Iga doesn't win it. Yeah, but anyway, that's still to come. Just reflecting on this run that she had, and just easily the best player in the tournament. I thought, but going into the tournament, that Rybakina, of course, would end up being a threat to both her and Sabalenka, because, of course, the Rybakina thing was sort of building because of what happened in Adelaide, was it, or Brisbane? Brisbane, maybe. So it was like, okay, she could be the woman to beat, but then suddenly she goes out early, and we all talked about Iga's travels. But yeah, let battle commence, Nick. And we didn't quite get the final of last year, but as I said, I kind of feared it. There's a good question here about Zheng from Jake. Nick, you can give your thoughts, and Bianca too, and then I'll add my.
I feel like Bianca's thoughts are going to be more relevant than mine, but I would say that, to be honest, the answer is don't double fault. Get Gavin, the biomechanics guy, on the phone. That's what she needs to do.
Also, I think maybe moving forward, but also implementing the drop shot more. The maybe 2 or 3 times she used it, the match, it worked. So I don't know why that wasn't a part of the game plan.
Yeah, that's a good point. For me, I think this experience will help her the next time she's here, and I do think there will be a next time. When and where, I don't know. I also just think that the whether that was the anxiety today, but some of her, I think Nick was being kind in those first 2 or 3 games. I thought the first 2 games she did look anxious, winning just 1 point from 8, or sorry, winning 1 point from 9. Then she has the chances at love 40. There's a forehand into the net in a fairly neutral rally. So yes, maybe a little bit of anxiety or some technical issues on the ground strokes there, but that's taken nothing away, of course, from Aryna, who was just comfortably the better player on the day and a comfortably better player throughout the tournament. And remember where we were 13 months ago, or no, a bit more than that, with Aryna, with the yips and the double faults and the anxiety. And is she going to go on to be a sort of David Ferrer sort of best player to never win a slam? Well, we're now at a situation where she's been in 6 Grand Slam semi-finals in a row, is it, Nick? US Open all the way through. Yeah, I think it.
US Open 21, US Open 22. Yeah, it's 6. I know,
so she's made the semi-finals or further. She's been in 3 of those 6 as well, and she's won 2 of them. I mean, that's just, if that doesn't convince the doubters regarding her temperament. And there's a very interesting article on Tennis Abstract about actually how she is a bit more solid in tense moments than people realize. But anyway, so there we go. Any final comments, Nick, before we wrap this up?
No, I don't. I think we've said all that needs to be said. I think Aryna Sabalenka, as the tournament progressed, was clearly going to win it. I had my doubts after Brisbane. Clearly, at the minute, Aryna in Australia can only be stopped by Elena Rybakina. And I guess she's going to be the heavy favourite when we come back round in 12 months' time. But fortunately, we're not Australian, so our tennis calendar does not revolve around the Australian Open. We're back on. We're back.
Woo,
on
well,
time zones, baby.
5:30 a.m. it is for me right now. I did go to sleep very early last night, so I'm not pooped, which is good. But I'm not sad to bid this time zone goodbye.
I woke up, can you believe this, at 2 a.m. Not because I was pumped for the final or anything like that before people, but I woke up at 2 just because my body clock is getting weirder and weirder. The night before, when I think it was Sinner and Djokovic started at about 4 a.m. my time. Or no, it was earlier. No, it was 1 o'clock. I think I went to bed at like 6 p.m. or something. And a similar thing last night. And actually, I was editing the Steve Flink interview, and I just couldn't finish the edit because my eyes just couldn't stay awake. Not because of Steve, because he was very entertaining, but I was just so tired. And as a result, I think I fell asleep again about 6 p.m. last night, woke up at 2 a.m. Of course, I'm quite lucky the next couple of weeks, though, because on the ATP Tour, we have Rio and Buenos Aires, which is basically the same time zone as me. And Indian Wells won't be too bad, although actually I'll be in Europe during Indian Wells. But yeah, but Bianca and by the way, have a spare thought, as somebody mentioned on Twitter the other day. Have a spare thought for the Australians and the New Zealanders who now have 11 months of horrible tennis viewing experience.
Very fair.
Yeah.
Up until the Asian swing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. But even the Asian swing is probably not. I don't think it's great for them. It might be like the US Open is for us, but anyway, do hit that like button. Do subscribe to the channel if you're new. Give Nick a follow on Twitter, which is, what's your handle, Nick?
At Nick_B Carter.
So there we go. I always remember the _BC bit because when I first put Nick in, I get about 1,000 different Nicks when I'm trying to tag you on Twitter. And I don't know why I keep having Bianca Talks Tennis when I try to tag you, Bianca, but it's actually this address, right?
Yeah.
Bianca _ is it Peterkin or I've never actually asked you this. Is it Peterkin or Peterkin?
Peterkin, yeah.
Peterkin, there we go. All right, cool. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new. Nick, I'm sure there's a WTA weekly in the pipeline. I think we were talking about Monday at some point, so that'll happen. There'll be an ATP weekly, of course, probably the same day. And we obviously got the men's final still to come. There's a video out there of me chatting to Steve Flink, previewing that final, but also reflecting on the semi-finals, which were pretty massive in their own right for various different reasons. But anyway, Bianca, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It was a great watch, clearly.
And of course, Nick as well. Wonderful for you to join us again. It's your second consecutive Australian Open final. Here, I think it was you, me, and Miles. Was it last year? Or you, me, Miles, and Ashley? I think could have been.
It was. I think it was. Yeah, Ashley was on it.
Yeah, I think Miles too, or maybe I'm wrong with that. And it was me and you for the French Open, and US Open was you and Tom, I think, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I need to complete the career Grand Slam.
Yeah, I think you missed Wimbledon. I can't remember who did that. It could have been me for all I remember.
I need to do Wimbledon. My friends need to stop getting married around July.
It might have been Jack and I for Wimbledon final, but I don't remember. I know I did Alcaraz on my own, the Alcaraz Djokovic final, which sounds a tough ask because it was like 5 hours or something, but actually it was just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So yeah, there we go. All right, listen, thank you, Tennis World, also for stopping by, and you know the drill. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.